it's also something that I'm trying to not keep low key necessarily. Like there's only a couple of people who know that I'm interested in doing something like that. So that's why I haven't been like talking about it and saying I'm going to do this or that, because there's different ways to approach it. And also I'm trying to take ownership of it. Like, because a lot of time, like I've noticed that everyone's got their own thing going on. Like right now, your major push has been, this podcast. Sandeep's major push has been creating specific beats and then creating like a sequence of visuals around that, on top of like other things. Karn's specific thing has been, he's doing his in real life talks on Instagram and building up his graphic design and his apparel, right? Like he's exploring that avenue. I get involved with these projects, like to help with the projects, but none of them have really been like me taking ownership and then like saying, okay, here's where I need your help, et cetera, et cetera. So
yeah, no, exactly, man. You fucking nailed it right there. And that's why it's actually hard for me to ask you for help sometimes, because I feel like I'm always taking from you and I'm not like reciprocating. It's like that's challenging for me.
Right.
But like I think that we need to we both need to take your advice when you said lingering is a dangerous place. And like I think I take that to heart, because like it's so easy for things to like have no direction or a little direction and then just like never happen. But it was such a great idea that just needed to keep on pursuing it until like it evolves into whatever happens,
We've got, so like, for example, this podcast, you already laid the groundwork, or like you already knew that you were going in this direction. You were already working towards this, either directly or indirectly, right? So yes. So when it came to like getting you up and running, it didn't necessarily take that long, like, because you were ready for it, right? So
yeah. I see Alexi here that wants to join the conversation. Can we bring him in right now?
Whatever you like, yeah. I mean, sure. You're going live in 2 minutes, so it's up to you. However you want to start this.
What up, Alexi? I see you. Hold on one sec, bro. I'll tell you more about how me and Alexi met, but he's a cinematographer and a photographer as well. He works under the Union 891, but he has his own personal documentaries going on right now. He's assisting me with music videos and commercials that I'm shooting for Simlife's Up Paddleboard Company. And he has like a really, strong knowledge for film, deeper than I have. And he is kind of like on that path of transitioning away from relying on other people for income and jobs and doing more work that he's passionate about. But we'll bring him in a sec.
So how many people do you I mean, even if it's just the three of us,
yeah,
that's fine. Do you have a particular flow that you wanted to take with this? Like the screen share is there, so whenever you want to queue it up, and then just let me know like next slide or whatever.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, so basically we're going to queue up the slide, and then I'm going to go over the bullet points on the slide, and then I'm going to try to open it up to like any questions or anything specific for everyone's project, that how it relates. Like hopefully a lot of the stuff relates for people. But there's going to be some things that are very specific. Like for you, it's like, it's not music, it's pursuing some sort of game show, or, like what is Karn trying to do? How can we look at his Instagram and be like your message is getting lost because you're not putting out enough content. Like we need to diagnose what if they want growth, right? Like I'm in for growth. So if we can agree that we're all in it to grow and have growth and build platforms, then we can look at other people from the case studies that I have on this thing and see what they've done, and then relate it to our own personal projects.
I might touch on like the photo booth instead then, like Toasty and Co. Because
Yeah.
it has something there. I can probably speak to it, what we have been doing, what we haven't been doing, especially with COVID and stuff. So
However it could relate to whatever you're doing, like it could be any project, but just having this knowledge that we're gonna go through, I think is going to be valuable.
Cool.
So let's give him another 5 minutes, and then we'll just start the slides. I see Alexi dropped off here. I don't know what happened. I'm sure he'll be back in a sec.
what does it look like when guests enter? Do they see like the link that you sent me? I'm seeing all of like the branding, banners, all that kind of stuff.
Okay.
Is that, I don't know if that's because I was
When they
logged
add?
in.
Like like what do I see or what do they see?
What is a guest supposed to see when they enter StreamYard?
I think they just see us talking right now, like live.
So I'm on the back end. I don't know if that's because I'm still logged in to like when I was helping you out, like load up all the titles and stuff. But I see like all the banners and branding and private chat. I don't know if I'm supposed to see that.
I think because maybe you're right. You signed in last time.
Do you want me to like sign out of this?
No, this is fine. Like,
okay.
It's all good. Oh, I see. I could share this.
Yep. And then I can just flip through whenever you need me to.
This is great.
Okay. Audio was also, oh, that's fine. Rearrange it however you need to, but the screen share is there available whenever you want to throw it up.
Okay. And you can still hear me?
Yeah. And I can still flip through.
Sweet. All right.
Who'd you invite?
Sandeep. Karn, Alexi. That's 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, so those 3.
Sandeep, Karn, Lexi.
Yeah.
Who's the 6th?
1, 2, 3,
4, 5.
I can't remember. Let's see, I'll just say. Oh yes, Steven Samuel, but he's going to be late.
Okay.
Okay. I'm going to try to share my screen for a second, see if it works.
Okay. You can are you sharing screen or application?
Application.
So if you pull out the StreamYard tab so that it's separate from the other tabs that you want to share.
Okay.
Does that make sense? And then share that window.
What about this one? I just share the whole screen.
So as long as you don't go into the StreamYard tab, like if you pull out the StreamYard tab from this window.
What do you see right now?
I see all the tabs at the top, and then I see Instagram.
Okay.
And I see StreamYard, Gmail,
Okay. These things up here.
Yeah, I see all of those.
Okay, that's fine. As long as
I also see like it's the infinite loop kind of thing that's happening right now. So
but you can see that, right?
yeah.
Sweet. Okay, so I see you, Alexi. Give me 2 minutes, bro. Okay. I messaged Karn. Message Sandeep. Oh, okay. You ready to start, Vic?
Yeah, whenever you are.
Okay, Sandeep's going to be 2 minutes, so we'll bring in Alexi to the party right now.
Sure.
Alexi. Alexi. Can't hear you, but that stash is fucking amazing. Yo. Alexi. Karn's coming on here in a sec. Karn's in the way. Look at that mustache. Holy shit. And he dropped again.
I don't know if his connection is stable because he was like ghosting really,
Yeah.
and we couldn't hear his mic. So
Oh shit, I gotta send Karn an invite here. He didn't receive it. That's probably why he's not in here. Okay, hold on. Let me see here. How do I do that? Stop sharing. Invite. Gmail. I did send it to him, man. Come on.
you're not streaming this, right? Or
No,
are you just
this is private, yeah. Like it's not live anywhere. Sent. Okay.
he's got a pen and pencil.
Oh shit.
It's a
Yo.
pen and it's a pen and a pen.
Dope, man.
And a pen. Redlining things, eh?
That's all I had here. I was about to run upstairs, and then I'm like, I have this.
Dope.
What's up, bro?
Can you guys hear me okay?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, cool. We're waiting for Karn and Alexi. Alexi's dropping in and out, and Karn's gonna be on in a sec. There we go. Device.
How's you guys day?
Still going, man.
Still going.
That's good to hear, bro. Yo,
Yeah.
check this out.
All right.
What's going on here? Matheson socks?
Yeah.
Oh, Alexi, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Can you
he
hear
is
me?
here. I can hear you.
Nice.
Hey guys,
Okay, sick.
guys, we're gonna really annoy each other if we talk over each other. I could tell you that much. So, Alexi, meet Sandeep Johal in the
Hey
black.
guys, how's it going?
Meet
How you doing?
Vikash.
Good, thank you. Nice to
And
meet you, brother.
That's Vic
You
as
as well.
well above him.
Nice to meet you, Vic.
Nice to meet you.
We'll definitely be chatting more, but we got to try our best not to talk over each other. People fucking hate that when I'm podcasting. I'll get comments saying you guys talk over each other too much.
Sounds good.
All right,
Or do they say you talk over everybody too much?
that's true. That's true. I know Alexi from film work. We worked on The Flash together and a few other shows. He's a I don't want to speak for you, but he's a cinematographer and photographer.
It's pretty accurate.
And
dope.
working on a documentary right now on his
Yeah.
own, and helping me with shooting music videos. And he's also involved in collabs with other people's projects on social. We have Sandeep, again, I don't want to speak for you. He has interest in pursuing music, and we've been pursuing music together. He is also involved in real estate and business. We have Vic, who has a couple projects on the go right now. He's in the middle of I know he wants to keep it low key, but I'm just going to say it, developing a game show right now. And he also has a photo booth company called Toasty, which he can tell us more about.
Very cool.
And Mr. Karn Sahota himself, sporting the Collaborate and Conquer snapback. Thank you, sir. Karn is involved in music as well and art. And we're going to sit here today and we're going to make sure that we solidify a specific direction for him so he can start growing his own branding. Say what's up, Karn.
What's up, guys?
What up?
Okay, so I don't want to waste anyone's time. I got a slideshow I want to show you, and I wanted to spend 1 hour going through everything that I've been learning about digital marketing the past little bit here in quarantine. I spent a lot of time trying to figure out what actually is effective, and whether you're pursuing music or art or business, I think it's extremely important to build our own platforms and brands, which is why this thing was on leverage and branding. So what I want to do is for the next hour, I'm going to go through a slideshow of very specific points I wanted to share and what I've learned. I come here as a student. Like, I'm not no fucking master. I'm not no social media master. There's just some things that I'm about to change. And I wanted to share these tools with you guys because I think we're all in a stage where we're all ready to grow.
Oh yeah.
Okay. So we'll get to know each other on our projects a little bit earlier. I just want to bring up the first slide first. So Vic's going to help me do that. If you can bring up the first slide for me, Vic. Okay. And we can go to the next one. So in the next hour, I want to have a discussion on these specific points. And then after we have the discussion, I want to go into each of our Instagrams specifically and into our brains to see what we are attempting to create, and then have practical steps that we can execute on to move to the next level. So the discussion points is, why is building leverage important? What is branding? Case studies and leverage in branding, creating brand identity, how to create content, how to use hashtags, using paid ads, creating a fan base and growing a following, creating a strategy and implementing a strategy, combating resistance and fear, and looking into each of our other brands. So I'm a big believer in learning 20% of the information that's going to yield us 80% of the results. I'm also a believer in creating over consuming. And I think we can sit here looking for fucking lessons from other people, but none of it's going to matter unless we're actually doing things on our own to push ourselves forward. So we don't have anything else to learn but these very basic skills. So saying that, I'm going to pass it off to SJ for a second. Sandeep Johal. SJ is his name that he goes by for music. And I want you to tell us what brand you were trying to create with Desi Method.
When you say create brand, like what was I trying to grow it into from the initial stage?
No, like, what's your mission with Desi Method? Like, Desi Method is Sandeep's music and art that he is producing. So what's your overall goal with what you're trying to do with Desi Method?
Yo, I'll be honest, before I even go into that, like, that's the blurriest question for me.
Perfect. Stop.
Yeah.
Let's leave it at that. Let's move forward. Karn, let's go to you, Karn. So Karn, he has a brand called Peril Vision, Peril. Karn, what does that stand for? I can't hear you, Karn. You're on mute, maybe?
My bad, bro.
Yeah.
No, it was just an acronym for people embracing risk in life. So it was supposed to evolve as a lifestyle brand type thing, right? And
Okay. So lifestyle brand, also involved in music as well.
Yeah.
Alexi, what are you trying to push? What's the next step for you to grow?
I'm trying to push basically the quality of the content I put out and just yeah, just kind of totally revamping my approach. And yeah, I'm really honestly, it's a blurry question for me too. But just putting in the time, right? COVID's been such a blessing for that. I'm actually dropping a video tonight, which is kind of like the first step of like me kind of revamping my approach and just using new techniques and uh, more advanced things that I haven't been doing yet to kind of, you know, push the art form that I've been really passionate about, and just, yeah, just trying to level up basically and take it from, I don't want to say hobby to pro, but like, you know, just kind of level up basically.
Copy that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Vic, what's going on with your brand's photo booth and Toasty? And if you want to share anything with ideas for your game show, that what inspired you to have that idea?
In terms of Toasty, the photo booth, COVID actually put a damper on that. Actually, my partner Zay, we touched base like when this whole thing started, and she was like, "Coronavirus killed Toasty," and it's because of the nature of the photo booth business. It's very social. It's very, you know, social distancing doesn't really work that well with it, especially since it's tied to events, weddings, parties, that kind of thing. So it is an opportunity to look at the brand and say, hey, how can we move it forward? Are we just going to wait? Or do we want to wait? Do we want to build out the marketing a bit more? What do we want to do? So we haven't really had much of that conversation. In terms of the game show, I'm still looking at concepts. We did like a couple of kind of happy hour things with work, just playing other games and getting used to like how that is like in terms of audience mechanics. But really, just a kid who used to watch like Jeopardy and Wheel of Fortune and those Japanese game shows. Get a kick out of those. That's
Dope.
pretty much it.
So we're still searching for a concept as well, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Awesome. Okay. I just wanted to give a little bit of backstory of kind of like where everyone's coming from. For me, it's music, art, and business in 3 words: music, art, and business, providing value and wealth, music, art, and business. And there's different avenues for that I have. My hands in a couple of small businesses right now. But we could talk more about that because I think we're all at a very similar step. So Vic, if we can go to the next slide. D-Meth.
Does Alexi have a? You have an Instagram?
Yeah, he does.
What's your handle?
It's Lex Art. So sorry, it's a little bit of a weird spelling. I just kind of changed it. It's LL.
Yeah.
EXXARTT.
Okay, I see you. Sorry, I was posting something and I was like, I should tag him too. So.
Appreciate that. Dope. Thank you.
We're gonna get deep into Alexi's profile today too, so we're gonna put him on the spot a little bit.
All right. Cool.
Okay.
Stoked.
Okay, here we go, boys. So, what is leverage and why is it important? So, the definition of leverage is using something to get maximum advantage, and that's a nice definition to me. I wanted to talk about the power in collaboration and how that relates to leverage. If you look at music, for example, you have independent artists that are doing features on each other to provide more content for their viewership. And then if I'm doing a feature for Desi Method, and then Desi Method does a feature for Makes My Beat, then I get exposed to his audience, and then his audience gets exposed to my audience. So that's what's happening a lot with independent artists. And in films, I made a note, Seth Rogen here, because Seth Rogen makes awesome films, and a lot of the time it's the same actors in every film. The reason why is they have leverage built with relationships with Seth Rogen, which is why they can all come together and make 12 films. And this one is Upto's film. This one is Rogen's film. And they're all sharing each other's fan base, and they're all sharing each other traffic. And business and art, sharing resources and skills. If I did not have the leverage of good relationships, which is a currency, I would not be able to make music videos. I would not be able to have paddleboard companies or create merch. Just like we're going to talk about the importance of leverage in becoming self-reliant, and the way that we're going to be able to compete with bigger corporations that actually have funding and they have purchasing power is through our relationships. And I just wanted to provide an example of like, you ever hear the term your net worth is your network? So for those that don't know, like I dropped out of college a couple of times. I never finished school. And the way that I got the jobs through like bartending and personal training and even film was through the relationships that I built with people. And it's just like the power of building deep relationships with human beings is so important. And today it can get so lost in just trying to get views and likes. And instead of going so wide, I think if we focus on going deeper, and me and Sandeep have talked about like having 1,000 true fans before, and how that mentality is what's going to provide us not only financial wealth in the long run, but we want to build communities. So, Vic, what does leverage mean to you? Like, as far as in the terms of social media and business?
Leveraging to me is the ability to it's the ability to lean into your strengths, right? It's the ability to when you're talking about, for example, collaboration, to cross promote. It's to look at what are the opportunities that exist. Yeah, that's really it. It's really just looking at the opportunities that exist and pushing them to the forefront, I think.
And Sandeep, leverage.
Yeah, I think it's like we're in the jungle, right? This game is live right now. We're trying to win, all of us, and coming together as a herd to hunt, basically. You know, we're up against some big, different types of beasts, and to win, we're gonna have to come together and just take a more strategic approach. I think. Yeah, I think that nails it on the head. Like, lean into your strengths and identify your strengths. Have a strategic vision to come together and see like what kind of team are we. You know, like a championship team in basketball always has to have an identity. And I think coming together, recognizing our strengths, and then leaning into them by doing those kind of projects and yeah, trying to make an impact that way.
Awesome. So on a more like not a philosophic level, but more something practical, is like leverage is something that can get you a better interest rate. You know, like if I have someone on my team that has way better credit than me and he's a doctor, I can use that leverage to get me a better interest rate because I build up that relationship that he knows, likes, and trusts me. So to me, leverage, know, like, and trust, those are three words that build leverage: know, like, and trust. So if people know you and like you and trust you through a relationship, that's leverage. That's what I'm talking about when going deep. And the only reason why I know that is I've been having a lot more success with communicating with people online. And it's from like actually caring and focusing on like giving more than taking from them. Let's bring up the next screen, Vic. Boom. Okay. So building brand is the single most important thing in business. Yes, we are artists and creators, but do we want to be broke? If not, we have to learn how to build our brands and communicate our message. Was there a screen before this at all, Vic, that we missed?
No.
Okay, perfect. So right now, I just want to take over the screen and I want to go over a few examples of brands that I've been studying. And then we'll go over the rest of this at the bottom here after. So, Vic, if I could take over the screen here.
You can do a screen share, or you take over my screen.
No, I could take it here. Let's see here. So let me know if you guys can see this, my entire screen here. Is that annoying? Can you guys see that?
Yeah.
Okay. So you guys know, you can see my Instagram now, boys?
Yep.
Okay. So let's start. So Sandeep, what do you notice about Gary Vee's Instagram page? Break it down for me a little. What do you see when you see this?
I see that he doesn't. His page is more of a flow. Like it's not like he curates one post and he spends a lot of time on the next post. It looks like it's just a flow of shareables, like all shareables. He's aware of. He's just sharing a message.
Yeah.
He's on it. He's on it a lot. You see his face a lot.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So this Gary Vee obviously has a team that's helping him out, right? But he didn't start with a team. He started by himself, making videos of him and like doing reviews of wine. Like that was his thing. He started all by himself. Now he has a whole media company to work behind him. But he's giving people accessibility, like literally saying, text me here. He has links to his podcast, which is on every single platform there is that people put up podcasts, and links to his other personal brands that he has already built. So what's the next name on the list, Vic?
Brody Kern.
So Karn, what do you see here? What do you see here?
Brody Kern.
Yeah.
I see similar to what Sandeep was saying about Gary Vee. Like you see a lot of his face. Like he let his presence be known. He has a clear aesthetic. That's a big thing that sticks out to me.
Yeah.
You know, he has colors. He has, you know, a tone to his page. Like, I mean, it's quite systematic at the same time to me too, right? Like
Systematic.
he's obviously got like a formula as to how he chooses to post, right?
Yeah.
And it feels very like it's a flow. It's like a book.
Yeah, you're right. So he's got aesthetic for sure. And for people that aren't familiar with this guy, like I don't really enjoy his work per se. I'm just using him as an example. But he sticks on topic. Like he knows exactly who he's speaking to. Performance coach for men in business, right? So he's putting up his social credit up here. Voted #1. DM me for brotherhood. He's fishing for people to join up whatever he's trying to sell to them, right?
Yeah.
So these are all things that we can notice. What's the next name on the list, Vic?
Grant Cardone. No, Alexi. It's Alexi.
Yeah. Okay, dope. Okay. Karn, what do you see when you see this profile?
Yeah, say a similar thing. Like, I mean, it's like it has a very it has a tone to it. Like it has an aesthetic the way he posts, and you can tell right away it's a gallery, right? Like you know what it is right away. Like it's a photographer, it's somebody's portfolio. You know, like it's very direct.
Yeah, and I like the theme of it all, right? Like,
There's a clear theme. Like this person obviously enjoys being outside.
Yeah.
Nature. You know, they got a vibe about them.
Yeah, it's a wicked page, man. Like I really enjoy it.
Appreciate that.
Yeah,
Oh, is your page?
that's Alexi's page.
yeah.
Yes. See, Alexi's not commenting back to people though. You see that? Great shot. So cozy, perfect. Like Alexi should be chatting back to these people. We'll get more into that, Alexi. I'm gonna pick on you.
Sounds
Bro,
good.
are you into like videography and everything?
Yeah, yeah, like pretty much all the camera related shit.
That's it.
Is it too
Yeah.
early to ask about what you think about this page?
Yeah, like I feel like my shit's a little too. I feel like it's not too thematic, right? I think there's too much going on. Like
Oh,
there's
you think
like
it's like it doesn't mesh together as a cohesive?
yeah, cause like when you scroll down, you notice like a different style of like posting. Like like I'm going on this new kind of style, but then it goes back to the old style.
But I kind of like that though. It's like it shows the evolution of the photography and where you are in your life too, right? Like, and it goes with the seasons. I feel like,
Yeah, I guess you're right.
Hey,
right?
Sandeep, what do you think of this page? If you saw this page, what do you think about it?
I would say that Instagram is a place to put your art so people can see it, but it's also a place where people want to know who's behind the brand.
Yes.
And I would like to see Alexi speaking to me, talking to me, showing me what he thinks about how he made that, how he shot that, what photography means to him, and how to do photography. And like, I would like to hear more from him, and I would appreciate because there's so much good content there. And,
Yeah, it's amazing
yeah,
content. Like
yeah,
like we can go deep into Alexi's page right now for sure. Like we can. I do have plans to get into everyone's page. But like just off the top, I think Alexi's page is awesome. If he was looking to get paid right now, I think if he just started DMing people, he has enough credibility with his work and his page here. If he made a list of 50 people and DM'd them and like didn't ask for anything, but actually had like a whatever, you can have start a conversation off with someone without even asking for anything. They're gonna check him out anyways, and like could even say for hire or like text this for or email. Like this photography page is great because it'll send them to a more portfolio, but people seeing this page, instead of then sending them to his portfolio, they're just already a fan. They could just contact him right there and let people know he's more available. Like,
and I feel like I would almost like if I came here for a video, I would almost be intimidated. I'd be like, yo, this guy's so good. Like it's unkind of attainable for me to contact him and actually get him to work with me, right? But if I saw more of him, it would kind of personalize the brand, and then I'd feel more comfortable reaching out to the person, right?
I agree. Like definitely more personalized, and not everyone can or wants to be the person like that has the camera on their face all the time. I completely understand that. Some people can write, some people can have photos. Maybe if Lexi shared something like Alexi, you kind of share like cool taglines that fit the vibe, and I dig that. But if you spend some time like writing something out that like kind of like speaks to why you took that photo or like how it made you feel, I think that would be more impactful for people to get to know you. And I think the reason why we're all not having more success financially and doing what we want to be doing 100% of the time, it's just that people don't know us. Like we're all very talented people. So Vic, what do you see with this?
I see. I know you're saying you don't have an aesthetic and that there's no theme, but I mean there definitely is, right? Like I can see symmetry in some of these photos. I can see that you're looking at depth. I can see that wilderness outdoors is one of your themes, right? It is like it's like Karn's right. Like you see the different seasons, so you can see travel, but then you also see what's local, right? Like what's Vancouver based, what's international, right? So, but that said, I can see, for example, like DJ's point, in a sense that this is like your portfolio. But it doesn't. Yeah, it's not a personal. It's not really a personal page, and I struggle with this too. Like I take photos as well, and it's kind of like I didn't know what to do with my personal Instagram. Like, is it your photo one? Is it your personal one? And when you're, for example, taking photos for a client, and then they tag you in it, right? Do you want to be tagged, and so that people who look at your work are seeing more of that work, or are they seeing like personal posts? What I ended up doing is I just made my profile private, and my clients don't even tag me anymore. they're just like that's okay. So I'm personally not leveraging my brand and saying, hey, here's what I've got, but you have something that's beautiful that you could do that with. But I totally agree with the feedback that you're getting as well from Karan, DJ, and Sandeep there, to kind of infuse yourself a little bit more into it. Right.
Appreciate that.
Also, I'd like to say that like there's no, and I know some people have a hard time with sales. I do understand that, but I don't see an offer here other than DM for collaboration, which basically says work with me for free, which is great. I'm not saying that's not, but I would highly suggest that you consider having like a paid ad with a photo, maybe even of you that's cinematic, and I'd like to see that, like you have a paid ad and like have like for hire on your page instead of DM me for collaboration. I just think that like there's going to be a lot of people who aren't willing to do the work that are going to want to collab with people that are here doing the work. So that's nice, but I don't want to collab with anyone that's not serious about being a professional at their craft. So we want to make sure that maybe we're portraying that more with like the language we're using. Alexi, do you have any questions for anyone? Like maybe that might give you a little bit more direction just to get some outside perspectives?
Yeah, I guess. Do you guys like have like a schedule? Like when you're posting on Instagram, do you have like a sort of like a schedule throughout the week? Like I'm going to post this amount of times and I'm going to post on this current subject, or like I have like X amount of posts about me and then X amount of posts of like whatever. Like I just have no like strategy, I guess. I just kind of like it's kind of for fun, So I guess that's kind of my question. Like, what is your guys' approach to Instagram?
So I think we're all, if I could speak for everyone, again, I apologize and raise your hand if I'm wrong, but I think we all could be way better at that exact question. And we have a lot that we're going to discuss coming up here pretty quick on schedule. But does anyone have anything to say that right now for Alexi?
One thing I try to do is I try to have something on my story at all times. Right. I try to keep it authentic, but I'll have like, I have my next 6 stories already. Like, so if it comes to me, I just write it down. I'm like, I'll have that. I don't just need to get it out right away. I can wait 6 days.
Smart.
It'll come in the cycle eventually. And then my posts, I try to have something that's really personal once a week. I try to have something musical once a week. And then something around a bigger project I'm working on once a week, just to keep everyone up to date.
That's good.
But
that's good.
It's more of a weekly schedule. I can get way better at having like a larger scope of things, but on a weekly basis, I have this kind of schedule a little bit.
Yeah. That's smart. Appreciate
Anyone
it.
else have anything for Alexi right now?
I think Sandeep pretty much summed it up for myself too. Is it's kind of like in the Book of Five Rings, right? It's like you should have a larger, like the the longsword. You should have, a vision of the
Mhm.
future, but at the same time, you should be, executing in the short term, right? And that's
Mhm.
I myself am trying to define and work on too. So
Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
So, just a little recap on Alexi's posts, and these are all suggestions, brother. No pressure, obviously.
Yeah, yeah.
We
No, for
just
sure. I
wanted to
appreciate
give
it.
you, yeah, we just want to give you it. If we could, I'd love to see a paid ad for you. I'd love to
Mhm.
see for hire on your line. Your
Mhm.
Instagram or your hashtags are great, and they're actually in the comments. Actually, I like that how you separate that, but also, hashtags are just, we're waiting for people to see the hashtags to see our work, which is a very defensive move.
Mm.
Offensive move would be like, I'm going to make a list of 50 people that I want to be in a network and share business with in the future, and just start up conversations with people online. Like, that's the
Hell
way
yeah.
people communicate right now. So I think that's a huge power move for you. Just be like, you don't have to reach out to people with 1 million followers. Maybe reach
Mhm.
out to people that are 1 or 2 steps ahead of you, that you're like, oh,
Mhm.
this person's a professional. I see their work. They're going to look into you just by like you commenting on the work and asking them like intelligent questions. It's not just like good art. That's a great spot. Where is that? It's like providing like an intelligent question or an intelligent comment on someone else's work is a great compliment.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel that. It's a good tip. Thank you.
Okay, cool. Let's move forward to the next slide.
Basically, actually, with that last sentiment, you're basically saying to be involved and engaged in your community, right?
True. True.
Is
It's a
that
very
so?
good point. Yeah.
Okay.
I feel that.
Okay.
Totally.
Boom. Okay. So I'm pretty sure that none of these are my own ideas. It's just stuff that I've been studying in this quarantine specifically. So I try to give props to where I got this from, but right now it's been such a blur because I've been getting a lot of information. So here we go. How to create content. So document, don't create. So people are so focused on quality all the time, and I understand that because that is a part of your reputation, especially if you're a professional. But I think the more that we document the journey and share where we are at the specific moment in time, that we're actually, like through our music and our past that we're on, if we could share people like, yo, we're not winning right now, we're not where we want to be, but we're on the path. I've gained so many more friends and teammates that way than just creating things, and then you have something you've created that's a moment in time, whether it be a music video, whether it be a wicked photo, or any piece of art. That's just one moment in time. But when we document things, the advantage is that people get to know us, and that's so important because people aren't just buying the music. People aren't just buying your cinematography services. The people want to get to know you. Like, that's how I've got most of my jobs in my life. It's not because my resume was better, I could tell you that much. It's because people got to know me through, whether it be like when I was bartending or personal training or even film work now. And Alexi can attest to this. Like, who you know in the film world matters a lot more than your resume.
Mhm.
So host the party. An example of leverage in high school. So in high school, I had a friend. His name was Jeremy Vanderbrink, and he would host all the parties at his house. He wasn't the coolest guy. He wasn't the most athletic, but he had the leverage and attention and popularity, if you want to call it, because he was the host of the party. I take that example as I am hosting a podcast. I invite people on my podcast, and inviting someone on your podcast is also a compliment for that human being. Instead of
Mhm.
asking for something like, hey, I want this from you, I'm trying to learn to work with you, it's like, I'd love to have a conversation with you over my podcast. And then I built the leverage of having enough podcasts in the bank, so they go to my page and see, oh, this guy's serious, he's on podcast number 98, and it actually looks pretty good. So that leverage gives me opens up the doors for bigger relationships for me. SJ, I think you should definitely consider having a podcast. I think that you could speak not only for like your own community, but I think you can have a voice that's going to help empower people. So I think that would be a good play for you. Not everyone is passionate about it and they have other avenues. I think it might help your real estate. I think it's definitely going to help your music and it's going to help people get to know you. If from seeing from an outside perspective, what Vikash has helped me achieve right now with just like my podcast and stuff and how it is, there's no reason why you can't have a podcast. There's no reason why Karn can't have a podcast. And then I could share my traffic with you, and then you could share my traffic with me. I could go on your podcast. You can go on my podcast. We can create, I could share your clips. And that way, that's how we're going to build leverage. I just made a note. I wanted to bring that up. Let's see. Where am I here, guys? Attention is leverage. Attention is important. Whether we like it or not, attention is how you build leverage. Let people in and be vulnerable. This is how we connect. I think that instead of showing things that are perfect all the time, whether you're trying to make your aesthetics perfect for social media purposes, or you're trying to wait way too long to produce and put out your music is a mistake. I think that the more content you can put out that you stand behind, the more at bats you have. So if I put out one track, that's one bat. Maybe it fucking sucks and it sucks, and that's what it is. I failed on that. But if I put out another track, I just another at bat. I think that people leave a lot of at bats. They're still in the dugout. They're too scared to go up to the plate and swing and be judged by everyone. And I think that as soon as you can get over that and realize, fuck, I could do 10 podcasts this week and 9 of them could suck, and one of them I can get 3,500 people listening to it. So, I could drop 10 shitty music tracks and then one of them can pop, and we could just 1 degree of separation and we're on a different path. So I think the more at bats we take, as far as being very specific, like Alexi, if you were DMing people that you wanted to work with professionally, the more at bats you have, the better chances you're going to have something come to fruition. And like, you're very credible already, man. Like, your Instagram's great, your work's great. With these changes that you're going to make, when people come and check you out, once you have those conversations, the more at bats you can take, dude, you're just going to be killing it. You're going to be way too busy to help me with any music videos. So
yeah. Appreciate it, man.
Yeah. So to be more specific, as far as the content mediums, there's podcasting, which is what I do. There's vlogging. There's writing and using still photos like memes, like Karn. Sometimes you have like those written, we're going to go deeper into the Instagrams, but you have like those written statements you have like in your phone. But if you could put an aesthetic behind that, like you were talking about with those statements, just like your own personal quotes, like, why the fuck are we posting quotes of everyone else? Like, Sandeep, you have 50 quotes that I still remember. Vic, you have quotes, like things that's your own and personal. Put it out there and put your name behind it, and take those swings at bat. Become a professional and niche yourself. So this one I'm still trying to figure out. If you notice all those examples that we went through briefly on Instagram, all those guys stand for something, whether it be building businesses with men, fitness, music, or podcasting. You could see what they're standing for. And there's a lot of them are like the go-to people for one specific thing. Have a content schedule. Okay. So having a content schedule is something that I'm working with right now. Right now, I have a lot of time where I could dedicate to this. However, it's not sustainable. But that doesn't mean that I shouldn't hold back right now, just because it's not going to be sustainable in 6 weeks when I get a job that's taking more of my time. I should be actually doing more now to get myself set up. So I think that having a content schedule, like Sandeep said, that should be in our calendars for sure. And we should also be backlogging work like Sandeep does. Sandeep, he might have like 5 or 6 ideas in his head. I'm not too sure how that works. You could speak for that in a second. But like, just because, like, if you want to make something, it doesn't mean you have to put it out right there. that might be the expectations of people viewing it, but as a creator, you know, like we can have a ton of shit stored on our phone that we're waiting to share when we feel like sharing it. So Sandeep, come in here for a sec.
Yeah, that's basically it. Because my whole thing is like I have to work on something every day, but it's amongst other things. Like I have to exercise, I have to sleep, I have to eat. So
Mhm.
I'm not going to spend 10 hours every day on it. I might when it's at the heat of the project. You know, when we have like 12 days to get a video out, then it gets into like hyper mode. But in general, I'm working a little bit on something every day, and it doesn't always get finished. And it, you know, I have one song I'm working on. It's like it's a passion project. It's not really like, you know, like so important for my brand, but it's important for me that it comes out. And so I work on that once a week, and it'll probably come out 3 weeks from now. So I have a bunch of stuff. I'm able to make a bunch of stuff keep like moving forward at the same time, but I can get better at strategizing when it comes out rather than just like, oh, it's getting to that point. Let's naturally let these things kind of come out. Um, but I think it's more important to work every day than it is to finish a project and finish the next project and finish the next.
Sure. Yeah, and like having a content schedule is important. And like, you know, maybe Karn, you could be like, I'm gonna put out one quote per day to start off with, and then you could backlog, create an aesthetic. There's a tool called Canva, Canva.
Yeah.
If I could figure it out, man, you could definitely figure it out. You can make quotes in there and backlog them and save them. You can make, you know, start off with you can start off with making 20 of them, and then you have a bank log of 20 quotes in your phone, and you could post it, and then maybe you could speak on it or something a little bit more to get more personal on why you felt that was posting it, you know?
No, I feel you on that.
Dope. Okay, so important that I wanted to bring up, like, how do you accomplish creating content on a schedule when you don't have a team? So right now, I'm doing a lot of my own content, but Vic has helped me learn a lot of tools to be self-sufficient in the meantime. Pretty soon, I'm going to have help with what I'm putting out with podcasting clips and music. I'm not at that stage quite yet, but that's the next stage. I think that right now you can use your leverage until you can hire help. So that's what I've been doing. And that's not even necessarily just about posting content. It's like what you're trying to create. Use the leverage in your relationships and the skills of people that are hustlers, just like you are, to help you accomplish what you're trying to accomplish. In the meantime, it's not that hard to create one post per day, but I could tell you that the more that I've been posting, like there's no end to the audience you can have. Like people are going to want to consume. And we're going to talk about consumption versus creation in a little bit, but there's no shortage of people stopping and not consuming what you're going to do. So I could do a 3-hour podcast, and that's not even enough content for people. People are going to constantly want more, especially if we keep on delivering consistently. So if I do a podcast once per week and people know that, and now I have my email list that I've been sending it out to and on Instagram, then it's going to build up slowly. So I just want to share my personal content creation strategy with you guys, and then I'll open up to the floor. But I just wanted to share what I'm doing and my plan. So my plan is, now that I have the Conversations podcast all set up, thanks to Vic helping me out, I'm going to put out as many podcasts as I can, but I'm going to do a minimum podcast of once per week. But I might do 3 per week until I get back to my real job, my day job on film. And then I'm going to chop up the clips of the sections that I'm talking about that I think that are interesting. And then I'm going to share those clips on my Instagram and Facebook. And I'm also going to start doing paid ads on Instagram for my podcast to get more viewership and interested in what I'm doing with the podcast. So I'm creating that podcast and I'm breaking it down into clips for social media is my strategy with that. Sandeep, you could do that with a podcast you start too. Very easy. You could start a podcast and start creating clips, and that could be, you don't even have to worry about content anymore at that point. If you're talking for 3 hours, you can have so many clips you can show. And once you get help, you don't have to be the one doing it all the time and staring at your phone. That's the ultimate plan. So, anyone have anything to say? Sorry, I'm talking so much, guys. I'm just trying to like share everything that I've been trying to get across to you. All speechless? Okay. Next slide.
killing it.
Everybody's speechless.
Okay. Okay. So before we even go to the slide, I think me and Alexi were having a quick conversation on the phone the other day, and it came up the idea of fuck you money. And I just wanted to bring that up. I don't know if I stole this from someone else or it was an idea of mine, but basically my main objective is to make fuck you money. And fuck you money is fuck you. I don't have to wake up at 5 a.m. to work on your film set. So for me, that's $100K a year doing my businesses and projects, which is very reasonable. If I can make $100K a year as my first goal, I'm not shooting for like 3 milli. I've never seen that before in my life, but $100K a year doing my personal businesses and my music and my film, and I'm on my own schedule. That's fuck you money to me. I'm not saying that has to be your goal, but it's a conversation we should all have with ourselves. It's like, I know there's people on this that are trying to be entrepreneurs and trying to have their own brands and businesses, and that's why I wanted to bring it up. Anyone have anything to say, Sandeep?
I wouldn't be adverse. I wouldn't be adverse to fuck you money.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so we talked about this briefly with Alexi, but how to use hashtags and DM approach. So the first thing that I feel that we all need to do before we start reaching out to more people and get more exposure is to create our brand identity first. So Karan, you said the word aesthetic.
Yeah.
I think Alexi already has that aesthetic already. Sandeep, I think like the aesthetics on the way there, but I think like it's not quite there with Desi Method yet. There needs to be something else. Like I want to see something every week from Desi Method, whether it's podcast or something. Like I feel like you're sitting on so much opportunity, and I think there just needs to be way more content. And I'm sorry to keep on saying fucking podcasts. I know I sound like a broken record. I just recently seen the power of this. You know, it's literally we're literally hosting the party with the podcast. And Vic, we're still like the Toasty business is probably going to be on hiatus until things go back to some sense of normality. It's kind of how I see it. But doesn't mean that we can't talk about like creating a brand for your game show as well.
That's really interesting. I'm excited about that, Vic.
Yeah, me too. I think it's a good opportunity right now, especially if a game show online where people can sign in and take part in. Like, even if it's not my jam or your jam, it's going to be someone's jam. And if you have 100 people on a game show, like interacting together, that'd be fucking amazing.
I appreciate it.
Okay, so create brand identity first. Use hashtags in our comments, not to clutter up our posts. And then I don't know a damn thing about algorithms at all. I don't know how they're changing, which is why I'm not relying on any hashtags. There's people that are very successful that don't use hashtags. There are people that are very successful that do use hashtags. I am more into direct message and human contact with people, which is why the DM approach has been very successful for me. I'm not really into all the hashtags, but I will put them on there. Vic, do you know anything about how hashtags work?
Hashtags are metadata. So there are different platforms that leverage hashtags: Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, etc., etc. Algorithms are those depend on who the service provider is, who the network is. It's not just how many hashtags you have, it's also like the relevance of those hashtags. So some people will actually search for trending hashtags and use those versus some that might seem obvious. So variations of things that are trending, and then hashtags are supposed to increase your exposure, right? So they
Yeah.
connect you with other relevant posters or posts or audience members who are looking
Sure.
for that.
Okay. So how many of us on this call have ever searched hashtag, like a hashtag, or done that consistently? Anyone?
Not
For sure,
consistently.
man.
No, not
Yeah.
consistently.
So that's like almost 100% here. So that's why it's important we don't rely on hashtags for exposure. It's not going to work. It's just not. I think like the personal relationships has to be the way to go personally.
Yeah, for
Good
example,
point.
like Instagram it still uses hashtags, but it's much more than that now. Like your social engagement. DJ touched on that with your comments, for example.
Mhm.
Your social engagement, cross posting, that kind of thing. Those things have more weight now. Hashtags used to be like, okay, this is going to be the way that people find you, and now there's like layers, more and more layers of how people can find you. But I'm also saying people can find you, as opposed to what DJ is saying about the offensive approach, which is the DM approach, which is being more proactive and seeking out those relationships and opportunities.
Yeah. I think also like just to take it in a little bit of a different like, direction, just I want to explain like for my paddleboard company, I have flyers, they're paddleboard flyers, and they say paddleboard rentals on them. And for me, I'm on a budget, so I have 250 of these flyers. So I could go down the street and I could put them in everyone mails boxes, or I could go to people where I'm gonna feel they're into paddleboarding, like the beach, and I could go down to where there's 100 people playing volleyball at the beach, and hand them the flyers. Like if I'm targeting specific people, my ROI is going to be better than if I'm just hashtagging, waiting for people to see my work, and hopefully somehow that turns into relationships that we're going to earn together. Like I don't see that as a good tactic at all, just to rely on hashtagging personally. Anything else on that, guys?
I just have one kind of interesting observation, if I may.
Please.
I've noticed that sometimes hashtags will work really well, just randomly. Like, and then other times not at all. Like, sometimes I'll post something and, like, for some reason, it just gets like 4 times the amount of likes and comments and everything. And then other times it just doesn't happen. And, like, I put in the same amount of work. Like it's just I don't get it. It must be an algorithm thing. Like sometimes they just favor that post for some reason or not, and sometimes like they expose it to more people, or maybe it's the content, I don't know. But like sometimes maybe it's the timing, I'm not sure, but sometimes it'll just be like instantly like lots and lots of feedback and likes and stuff. And then other times I'll post something that I consider stronger and it's just not there. I don't know. It's weird. Is the algorithms consistent? Do they change on a day-to-day basis? Like,
I've
is there?
I've heard people talking about it, like the Chris Do. I don't know if you guys watch him in the Futuristic and stuff like that, but I've heard them talk about the algorithm being feature driven on Instagram, and you got to kind of stay in touch with what the new features are. Like right now, it's the carousel and things like that, and using the 10
Mm,
sites and really utilizing their features, and they push that, and they push that, and they push that a little bit more than the other
mm-hmm,
posts. So
mm-hmm,
it's also about kind of knowing what the platform is and what it offers, and using it as they roll it out.
mm-hmm. Interesting.
Anything else, Vic, on hashtags? Like, I feel the same way. I don't know anything about that, which is why it's not something that I'm going to rely on. Like my ultimate goal is to have someone else actually helping me with my social media, so I don't have to be the one staring at my phone all the time.
Yeah.
You know, someone else making clips for me that I'm paying, and they're making other clips. I'm gonna forward them like all the clips that I like. I'll spend 5 minutes a day on Instagram being like, I like this video of French Prince. Send it to them. Send it. I like this video of like this really inspired me what Tupac said. Send it to them. And then I don't even have to be, my focus can be on the comments that are coming in and commenting on other people's, because if we're so focused on getting all the hashtags right, getting the photo right, getting the text right, and I know we're all in charge of our own brands right now, because I don't think anyone here is quite at the point of getting outside help. We're still working on our brand identity, trying to figure out our direction 100%. But I see all of us on this call very soon being like, fuck, all right, I need to get some help with my social so I could be the one that's the creator. I'm making the music videos. I'm making the films. I'm making the music. I'm podcasting. But we need to create the systems that are going to help us with all the posting and you know, all that stuff. I think at one point we should move on from that, because not to go off topic, but the amount of people that create versus consume is so lopsided, and which is great, because that means there's so many eyes are looking for entertainment, but it's not, because we're a part of that crew. So we could spend all our time fucking scrolling all day long if we wanted to, trying to get amusement out of it. Like the majority of people who use Instagram are consumers. The majority of who create are way less. Sorry. And it's the same thing as YouTube. Like how many of us watch YouTube daily, but how many of us have a YouTube channel that we put out anything?
Yeah.
So like we need to be on the right side of the equation. And I just wanted to bring that up. I'm really passionate about like being a creator, not a consumer. And you know, it takes discipline, but also it's not that hard, because like I want to share Alexi's work. I want to share SJ's work. I want to just share each other's work and push our brands forward. Like that's way more useful of my time than me just scrolling all day trying to get endorphin rushes shortly, you know. Like I wrote in on our getting back to here, you can't spend likes. Like no matter how many likes you have, you can't spend likes. I'll just finish this page and we'll get back to discussion, but I really feel that DMing is a new form of networking, and it's more effective than hashtags. And I feel that hashtags and DM as a strategy together is probably better. I'm not saying we're in positions where we don't have to use hashtags. It's a tool, but to them cohesively is going to work better. Also, I wanted to bring up reposting and sharing others people's work on your page. I just want to mention that it's a very big compliment to share someone else's work. It might not fit your brand to share someone else's work, so I certainly get like maybe that's not your aesthetic. But for me, what I realized is like if I see people's work and I repost it, I also get to use all their hashtags, so I don't have to write anything down myself. I just copy and paste all theirs in, and then I'm all of a sudden the host of this conversation around this piece of art that I'm a fan of. So I think that's a tool that we could use is reposting. Asking someone to be on your podcast is a compliment. Just asking people, and then also be the mayor of your city. What community are you speaking to, and what community are you part of? So like being the mayor of your city is just an example of like if I wanted to show what's going on, like SJ, you could show what's going on in Surrey, like Surrey Art Center having this, like this school is doing this fundraiser. And it doesn't even have to be all Surrey, but it's just an idea of like if you were the place where people come to for the podcast to be the mayor of your city, man, like not even just beyond your whole ethnicity. I think you can even be bigger than that. But like I'm gonna say it again, Desi Method podcast. It should happen. And I just think that if you took that approach, you can talk about anything you want. You could also share perspectives from your neighborhood, whatever you're passionate about. You could sponsor yourself with your own real estate company. You know, we can cross sponsor where I could sponsor you with Sim Life paddle boards or collaborate in Conquer Production Studios. You know, like if we all have our own professional brands, that is our leverage, and that's how people are going to take us seriously. Anyone have anything to say?
One thing I'll say is like with the likes thing, I agree with that. Like, I was thinking about that too. Like, if you have 3,000 more people come to your page, what are you gonna do with them? And how are you gonna turn that into something at the end? Like, you can get a lot of people into your funnel, but what are you gonna do with them? So you just want 3,000 likes, but how are you gonna turn those 3,000 people that are willing to press like on your picture into whether you're trying to get more work or whether you're trying to sell something? I think having that end goal so you can translate the likes and the views into something.
Absolutely. And like, one thing that I've noticed, and I think if like I'm sure you've heard it before through Gary Vee, he talks about jab, 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 right hook, jab, 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 right hook. So I had me and Vic did online kettlebell course, right? And I didn't build enough credibility as a kettlebell teacher. So when I try to sell something, there was no leverage, right? I didn't have a body of work. I didn't offer any value for free at first. No one knew, like, and trust me. Like a small community, I didn't offer that first. I didn't jab, jab, jab. I just went for the right hook, you know? And I wasn't very successful financially, although it taught me so much more going through that process. So I get that for sure, Sandeep. I get that for sure, man. Shit, I was gonna bring something up for Karn. Oh yeah, okay. Just Karn, I was thinking an idea for you.
Yeah,
I don't know. If you're building your own brand, I notice these guys online that like do track reviews where they just listen to some tracks and like pause it and talk about it. You ever see those online?
Yeah, I watch them all the time, bro.
Yeah, like does that not interest you? Like there's people online that are fucking killing it on YouTube, and all they do is they listen to other people's music and then they pause it and they just fucking react to it. It's a reaction video. And also you can put your own music into there too, you know, like if that's how you can mix it in. And it's like you share your reaction. Like, oh, this is fucking a dope bar. Let's break it down, whatever. And then you go through the track. And then you're like, hey, you guys can check out my music at boom here. And then you could start throwing your own music with that. So you can get recognized as a musician, but you're also hosting a party, a discussion of like, let's check out like, you know, like a verse off Jay-Z's album 444 or whatever, or a new track comes out, which is even better because if a new hot track comes out and you have that name in your YouTube, you're going to get a shit ton of hits on it because people are going to want to check out that track, you know, like if you did, like Jack Harrow had a recent fucking huge hit called What's Poppin'. You ever hear that track?
Yeah, I've heard it.
Yeah, if you had like, you know, KRN reviews What's Poppin' by Jack in your YouTube. So everyone that searches Jack Harlow What's Poppin', boom, under his video, there's going to be a bunch of people that reviewed it. So that's a good way to, I fucking hate the word, but hack getting, for a better sense of the word, getting some more eyes on you, you know, like just an idea I wanted to throw at you. I had it written down here and I thought it related a little bit to this screen right now, but just something to consider. I know like it's tough because people can tell me all day that you should just be a personal trainer brand, and I'm like, fuck, I don't want to be known for that. No. So like, excuse me if I'm like trying to push ideas on you guys, like podcasts and shit like that. I just want you to know from an outsider's perspective that like your ideas are very valid. And like, I see a lot of potential in it. And if it's a case of like, you know, not wanting to be judged, then that's something you guys need to address. Or maybe it's just like, you're not into it, which is okay too. You just gotta let me know so I could stop pushing, you know?
No, definitely. I actually like that idea, bro. And it's something that I've been thinking about for a while. And maybe I just haven't been able to grasp my mind around like how do I execute something like that, you know? But that's something that I obviously, if I'm interested in, I have to, you know, push down the boundaries and figure out, okay, this is how you know, screen capture. This is how you set up your lighting, etc. Like I'm looking at your set right now. I'm like, yo, that's dope. I like the way you have it set up.
Thank
and
you.
it looks so, it's clean, it's professional, right?
Yeah, like I had a lot of help from Vic. I ordered some cheap lights off of Amazon. Some cheap LED lights of Amazon. I fucking set decked myself, and that's it. Like I think like we really need to use the tools that we have now, because when we have more tools, it's just gonna make our life so much easier. Like, I made a fucking album on a broken down laptop and the shittiest microphone I've ever had in my life, right?
Yeah.
So now when I get a brand new computer and a dope microphone, it's gonna be like, fuck, man, like no big deal at all. Like if I can podcast in the spare bedroom of my house, when I get my studio space, man, like I'm just gonna get on to the next level. It's important that we don't wait if like we're trying to create shit, because like we're gonna learn through moving. We're not gonna learn from just like trying to think about, how to make this perfect. It's like my podcast looked like garbage and it's taking me a long time to get to where it is now. And we can get you a lot of shortcuts just from like what I know and what Vic knows and get you set up. It's not going to be a problem. Let's save that because I want to finish the slides and then I want to go into both of you guys, Brands and Vic's too. Let's move to the next slide. Okay. So using paid ads. Has anyone experimented with paid ads, or why not? Corporations and businesses spend thousands on paid ads. How do we expect to compete, and what are we waiting for? So my message isn't like do paid ads work or not. My message is we should find that out. We should find that out. If we're competing against other businesses, whether it be we're competing for attention from other business that have bankroll, and we don't even have enough money to invest in ourselves to see if we're going to be able to build our own brand, like we should definitely be putting ads out to see if they're going to work or not. We got like music companies that put hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars on ads, and for some reason independent artists, they don't want to sell out, or they're not confident in their work yet, or whatever it is, but they're not willing to be like, no, I'm going to pay to put out an ad. It's like, if you have a business back in the day and you mow lawns, you want to ad in the newspaper back in the day. Why wouldn't you, if you had that business, why wouldn't you have it on digital? Like lots of people have lawns. You could target people. Like, why are we not doing that? We can target people's demographics and geographically as well. And then we can deliver our message to those that actually want to see it. I explained the example of like my Sim Life Sup flyers. We're going to go down to the beach instead of just handing them out randomly. I'm going to target people. The way social media works that I know is that people get suggestions from the things that they want to see. So what people like actually determines what's puts in front of you. So if I'm liking, naked chicks all day on Instagram, my whole feed's gonna be flooded with them. If I like MMA, my feed's gonna be flooded with them. If I like producing, my feed's gonna be flooded with them. How often should you post? It depends on your health and your goals. That's a personal question that I'm still trying to figure out. Like I said, right now I have a lot of time, so it's not a big deal. I am going to backlog some stuff and get some help at one point. You do need time away from your phone. I can't stress that enough. Like, if you can't control yourself on your phone, sometimes guilty is charged, by the way. I get it, but this goes to getting help so we can focus on the actual work and the art. That's an important step that we're going to have to reach. But in the meantime, we need to be, I feel, very strategic about how we spend our time online. Lots of us don't have this problem, so excuse me if I'm speaking to you guys and you got it dialed in. But, it's probably not best to be all day available to people on your phone. Making sure we're spending that time away from the phone can help regenerate us and get back into it. Replying to comments is important. Even if someone sends you a fucking emoji, like just replying to them, it's an acknowledgement that you see that person. Like I'd rather spend time replying to comments and leaving comments than scrolling. I think it's way more useful to use our time like that. So when people comment, like I think we should that's someone that wants to be our fan, or they're interested in what we're doing already. And to not get any recognition back, that's not cool. Like, it's like, yes, SJ, please. Thank you.
Yeah, that's like a salesperson. Someone walks into the store and they say, Like even if they just say, "Oh, I like this," and you don't engage them, you know, a good salesperson would never just let that comment just end there. And I don't mean sales in a like a cheesy way. I mean like just in general, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
say you're trying to pick up a girl and you know you walk into a place. Okay, I have the intent of picking up a girl. A girl comes up to you and says, "Hey, I like your shirt," and you're like, you don't say anything back, right?
Story of my life. What are you trying to say?
I'm saying know what you want, and then see again. I think it comes down to like you're more likely to engage people if you know what you're trying to do, right? If you don't know what you're trying to do, I think that initial conversation is enough because you don't know what you're trying to do with them. And I think that's why a lot of people don't take the next step to like if you had a product to sell, anybody that came to your page, it'd be easy for you to just talk to them and lead them to that the sale of that product. But if you're fuzzy about what you're trying to do, you know,
Okay. So, like, if you don't have the intention of what you're trying to achieve in your head, then, like, is that what you're trying to say? I think, like, people want content, man. And if you're not delivering it to them regularly, then we're actually not giving them enough direction to be involved with what we're trying to do. So, I think you need to decide what you want to do. And then once you decide that, then we should be sharing that and consistently have a theme, like Steven Samuel has Freestyle Friday. So every Friday, I know Steven Samuel is going to be dropping freestyles. I have a conversations podcast once a week. So everybody knows once a week, I'm going to have something for them. It's like Jimmy Kimmel, same thing, right? It's like, if we're not providing something on the regular to people, it's so easy for them to lose interest in us, and we don't build any momentum off of it. Like, if I stop podcasting now, then people would just not care anymore, because it's like, why? I don't even care enough about what I'm trying to do. Why am I going to pay attention to this person when this person's has 200 podcasts and this is what they're doing, Vic? Thoughts? Am I off?
Thoughts on like engagement, that kind of stuff? Like, what
I
do you-
guess like we're gonna move into, let's just finish this slide and then let's move into Sandeep's projects and social. Okay, so is there another slide?
I think you just had consumption versus creation
Okay,
left.
so we already hit that. Can you go to the first slide again? Okay, go to the contents. Go down. One more slide, sorry. I want to go over the examples. Okay, here we go. So I want to spend, it's 10:26 right now, 10 minutes just discussing a few examples, and then we're going to move into SJ's brand. Okay. Guys, you with me still?
yeah.
Okay. So let's see here. I'm going to share my screen. Okay. You guys see this?
Yeah.
Okay. So again, he has his phone number readily available. He uses a photo and then he writes text to it. No hashtags. he has his own podcast where he chops up clips. He does texts, personal photos. He shares other people's stuff, lifestyle. What do you see, Karn?
Yeah, no, I see. A little less of an aesthetic, but I see a lot of his presence, which is like, okay, now you get really curious because now you have a human's face in front of you, right?
Yeah.
But I see less of a, an overall design aesthetic and stuff like that. But he has a lot of content. Like, how many posts does he have? Like 1,400. So he's obviously posting quite consistently.
Yeah, I could almost tell you that positively he has help, but again, he started on his own, right?
Mhm.
Well, let's go into another one here.
Yeah, no, and it looks like he kept his content quite raw too, right?
Yeah, like it's not super polished. He has his logo on the stuff that he writes, I guess, and his logo where he podcasts. Okay, let's move on. If you guys have anything to say,
Wait, actually, can we go back to that guy?
yeah.
Like, what does he do? I don't even know. Like, is he just a motivator? Is he a life coach? What does he do?
He's
Go ahead, Vic.
he's the founder of a fitness brand. Not just a fitness brand, but like if you go ahead and go to it. And they've been around for quite some time now, I think.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so he's the founder. I'm sure he's there in that post, but he's probably in like when they started it in the very beginning. This is just their Instagram feed, but their website is pretty detailed. But a lot of it is fitness training, event, merchandise related. Are they into supplements too, I think now?
Yeah. So he is a master at delivering a message, and he's good at in front of the camera, and he has his own podcast, and he's willing to just literally be himself and build brands around his lifestyle, whether it be this brand or other strategic partnerships that he has with yoga studios that he's purchased. He's written a book which helps provide him credibility. Yeah, this is a good personal site. I find it's really effective, and he also has he's done like courses in the past and had books in the past. Entrepreneur. You guys ready to move on to the next one?
Yeah.
This guy also has a very good profile photo. I like this photo here is pretty good. I like that photo of him.
Also, one thing is like utilizing your story highlights. Like, see, as on the day, blog, workout.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
We need to get better at having those up there. Like, I'm gonna have those up on mine pretty soon.
Mhm.
And we should, like, our YouTube channels, our podcast, our latest music video, all other stuff that we're doing, we should have up here. Sandeep, what do you see?
Again, I see effective use of the story, breaking it up. I see a lot of him. It's every content, every post looks like it's like has something to say. Like it's
Yeah,
it looks
absolutely.
like it looks like he's sharing a lot of videos too. It's not just he's not creating all of them.
So Illmind has a Twitch channel that he started, and here's his schedule. Monday through Friday, he's on Twitch at 10 a.m. This is like a full-time job to this guy, right? He also takes selfies of himself, it looks like, on a tripod a lot, like lifestyle shots. He doesn't have help in the studio, looks like. Here's one down here. Sharing other people's videos.
I like
Lifestyle.
that. Having
Us.
publishing a schedule at the starting of the week of what you're gonna release. That's pretty cool.
Where do you see that?
Like that schedule you put for his Twitch.
Yeah.
But I mean, for us, if we don't have a Twitch, we could just share our schedule for the month or the week.
Like, what do you mean specifically?
So if you go to that post, like it was up, I think of it, right there. So like it could be like, okay, Monday 6/8. You don't have to put a time. Put new podcast. Wednesday, new post on marketing. Friday,
Mhm.
Update on, or something, whatever, right? But just announcing it and then actually getting it out on that day, those days.
Yeah, that's how we're gonna build like trust with our audience, is by like saying we have a podcast at 10 p.m. on Friday and actually doing it, right? And then
Audience and like each other. Like say Vic has something he's gonna put out. Sees Sandeep on Sunday posted his whole week thing. He's dropping something on Friday and Wednesday. So why don't I drop my thing on Thursday? Because I know he's gonna share it. He's more likely to share it on a day when he's not putting something out. So we can all make it all about Vic's drop on Thursday.
I see. Okay.
But obviously with the audience as well, of course. Yeah.
Yeah, he has a podcast, he has YouTube channel, and Twitch. Let's anyone got anything else on this? Good. Okay. Here's another one. Booking, musician, podcaster, comics, rap nerd. I like this one a little bit. Like my bio is a little bit like this. Like I'm showing that I do more than one thing. Vic, what do you have to say about this? I'm gonna model my Instagram around this guy's kind of style, like with having my YouTube and my Spotify and stuff, and a nice photo like that. Vic, what do you got to say about this guy's profile?
If you start it with just his profile, like at the top,
Yeah.
the things that he lists in his bio are turn on post notifications. That's just so post notifications is kind of like YouTube as well, where you are alerted that there's new content from that person. So especially when you follow somebody, like, so he's basically saying, do this, right?
Yeah.
Right. He's got a hashtag. So the hashtags, it depends how you use them. So he's using hashtag in this sense as a marketing tool in a way. So consistently using that one hashtag is part of his campaign. So he's listed in his bio. I'm sure it's probably on certain posts. It might be hard talk game. So yeah, and it's probably a collective, a group of people who consistently use that hashtag. So there's more exposure. And then he lists his personal information. I noticed that a lot of people, because Instagram, you can't actually put a link in your individual post. You can put it in your bio. So you'll see a lot of people say link in bio, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So this is an example of it. And there's a lot of people, there's not a lot, but there's several companies that seem to be making short URLs. So this one is smarturl.it. I think there's like about me. There's like linkin.bio / and then and people will use that. So how this doesn't look like a very fancy website. It's because it's optimized for your phone, right? So when you are on your app, on your phone, you click it, this looks really tight when you click that link, and it has all of his platforms on there, right? So they, wherever he's streaming.
Like a link tree. It's like a link tree.
Yeah, exactly. There's another one, right? Linktree. And then, in terms of his posts, it's very personal to whatever he's doing. A lot of it's lifestyle, right? And then every now and then he's posted whatever his most recent content that he's trying to push. So he's got a thumbnail for that, either video or concert or whatever. Where to find the track.
He's not scared to be in front of the camera at all. Or if he is, he hides it well. He has lots of his music videos.
That's going to be your next music video, just in the back of the van.
Yo, yeah.
Like, how easy is that to do? To fucking wrap your track in a car and use it as content and have your homie film you?
Can we see what he says to his, like, does he talk to his followers and stuff in the comments?
Sure. For all the people who still want to say I don't have bars, this one's for you. Enjoy.
Go to the view replies, like whenever you see one of those posts.
Replies, okay. I don't see any replies.
Go down. Yeah, it says like there's one there. Yeah,
View replies. Boom, I see. There you go.
Okay,
Oh,
so
yeah.
Even if it's just like a very small thank you or whatever, is usually all it takes.
It lets them know that you acknowledge them, right?
Yeah.
And I don't even think you have to do it for, like, say we don't have this problem, but if we had like 200 comments, you only have to answer back to 20, and the rest of them will see that, oh, he is engaging in the comments. So
Well,
there's
a couple different mentalities. One is to demonstrate that you're engaging, kind of thing, like you're talking about, and then there's actually just engage with your audience, right? Let them know that you hear them. Like, unless you're strictly putting out content just to showcase what you've got, and you're not available to comment, then that's fine. But I think what we're talking about when it comes to engagement is being active with your followers, your friends, your community when people are posting this, right? So if you go to something that's got like more than one reply, like if you go up a bit, yeah. So like here, he posted something, that person replied back, and then somebody else replied, right? So there's a bit of engagement. There's a thread going on there.
So this guy is a touring artist. He also follows 7,000 people, which are probably fans of his, and he follows them back, would be my guess, which would be exciting for someone who's a fan of his that goes to one of his shows and they follow him back. Like, how cool would that be if you're a fan of this guy? He's aggressive with the ads on social, and he's also aggressive with the collab. And also, he's got skills. Like, he's got bars, he's got cadence. He's a legit artist. He's like growing, and I'm following this guy's moves. Vic, what's the next name on that list?
Wiz Khalifa.
So I was gonna skip this one because clearly he has a lot of help and an unlimited budget, but I just wanted to quickly show his page because hopefully soon we'll have help with what we're doing. So this is dope to me. This is everything he's doing: music, video, family tour.
So this is something that like Karn's been talking about as well, is when you look at the features that the platform has rolled out and is also like the newer features
Mhm.
that can help really drive your content. And the same thing with like with SJ in terms of putting out story content. Like I find myself putting out more. It's not that I'm trying to attract attention, but I find that I'll more likely post to my story than to my feed now.
Yeah, me too, bro. I'm the same.
Yeah, I if that's for you both and myself, and SJ, are you on that vibe?
Yeah, I think they have different. Like for me, a post has to be a little bit more substance. The story can be a little bit less. Like it could be of the moment. It's only there for
Okay.
24 hours, so yeah.
You know, he has a lot of help and a big team, but I just wanted to show like he's cutting a lot of this stuff from like his album covers and like lifestyle shots, and has a photographer following him around, and probably has someone helping him post up his shit. So, but it is a good look into like someone who's made it and see what their page looks
What-
like.
What does his link go to?
I think it's an album. No, it was another. It's a broken link. That's what it is.
Oh, you should fucking holler at him.
Someone's getting paid too
That's
much
it.
to not pay attention.
Jesus, man.
I don't think you could probably holler at him, can you? Oh, you can.
He's doing it right now.
Well, you got 3 requests, bro. What are you doing? People trying to hit you up in your DMs and you're not even answering? Karn, are you on your couch right now? Your new couch?
No. I should be though, right?
Well, yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna go downstairs, man. What am I doing up here?
All right. Who's next on the list?
It just says a collision of limitless minds. Is that an actual?
Sounds like the dark web.
Oh, okay.
All right. Karn, check this out.
Stimulated co.
This is that aesthetic.
Yeah,
Okay.
heavy aesthetic, right?
Yeah.
This is very much into like very specific brand, the same font, a little quote, and a little tag at the bottom, right?
Are these guys like do they sell merch? I would imagine.
Business inquiries via DM and email. Seek discover WP.
Goal to change a million.
But what's this guy do?
I'm not too sure. I guess he has business inquiries with people. He could be like into helping people with their social media or
Can you click on books up there? Let's see what those
share.
Are they their books? You recommend books?
I think they're recommended books. You think there's like a picture of them in their garage with their?
So this might not be the best example of kind of things that relate to us. I just wanted to show like the aesthetic behind it all.
Their business. I mean, I am curious though. Business inquiries via DM. I wonder. It's probably for advertising on his stories. I think, right?
Right.
Let's click on his stories. Click on his story. Let's see what they're doing.
I think these guys are about life coach or something. Public speaking.
Yeah,
That's why
like they're not. This page doesn't give too much of anything that.
click YouTube. Where are these guys posting? Swipe up, click see more on the bottom.
Shit.
.40-minute video. Is it just going to be quotes? It's just going to be quotes. What's going on?
It's just the audiobook for Think and Grow.
Yeah, it's not even him. So Like this page is very generic almost. Like
But I
you don't even
get
know if there's,
the aesthetic though is something to
yeah, you don't even know there's a real human behind this.
It's the ghost of
Me-
Napoleon.
Yeah.
Can you click
Okay.
on one of the posts again?
Click on which one?
Just any of the posts.
Sure.
I like how Lexi got the feedback on his page and he's like, I'm out.
Yeah, right.
So can you
he's working right now.
scroll down? Go to the plus sign. I want to see what like is the earliest comment is.
This one?
Keep going. Yeah. So this person I noticed uses hashtags. And pretty much maxes out. I think there's like a 30 hashtag limit or something.
Mhm.
They maximize hashtags. So it's not to say that hashtags are a bad thing. It's to say that hashtags they perform a different function than DMing. DMing is more relationship, more direct relationship building. And it serves like a specific purpose. Whereas hashtags is more about your exposure and how many impressions you're getting, right? Because it's more on the back end when people are searching for stuff. For example, when I've through like my day job, when our marketing department used to post videos on YouTube, we're not looking for like hundreds of views, but I did notice that they were not hashtagging in the description of YouTube. And then when I started uploading, I wasn't really getting any direction on it, but I would just hashtag whatever. Hashtag, law, whatever, basically anything that I could think of that the video talked about. And I don't know that there's a direct relationship, but I would say that there was definitely an increase in the amount of views or the exposure that video got, because all the tech has to look for your video is whatever it can find in the text, in the description, like the title, in the description itself, in the comments, and for something like YouTube, maybe in the audio, like if it's transcribing it, to make it easier to find. But if you're not using hashtags, you may be doing yourself a disservice.
If you're not,
If you're not, like
Yeah.
if you're just altogether not using
Potentially,
it,
yeah.
yeah. So like,
Get somebody coming that could impact your business.
yeah, so like if you're looking at Alexi's one of his posts where he posted 3 words, right? And for somebody who doesn't have, like, he has, quite a number of followers, but for somebody who doesn't have like thousands and thousands or hundreds of thousands of followers, his content isn't necessarily being exposed to other people, because all Instagram knows is that here's a photo, here's what it looks like, here's what other people who liked it, and finding commonalities with that to share it. But if you're not putting hashtags or a description or talking about something in the actual post, then it's going to be very hard for your page, if it's public facing, to be found by other people. Twitter is like a huge example of text, more or less text-based only. They have images and video now, but text-based only, limited number of characters. So people use hashtags and mentions, so the @ symbol, to engage with people. And that's how people find content. In a very short, kind of brief statement, you're able to engage with a larger audience, because you're more relevant.
Would you say that hashtags are more of a momentary tool as well?
As in
like how he's saying, like directly maybe tagging somebody or DMing somebody, but like hashtags are more like in the moment, like if somebody else is using. I guess you're having to look for more unique hashtags too that people are likely to search, because once you post a common hashtag, so many people are going to be using it, and you're going to be falling more and more to the bottom of the gallery of hashtags. Is that not true?
Yeah, yes and no, because like if you use a unique hashtag, if people aren't thinking of that unique term or phrase, nobody's going to find you. And then if you are using trending hashtags, you might fall to the bottom, but you are at least part of
The
that.
larger Oh,
yeah, that larger pool. So if people are, just swiping, whatever, they're more likely to be exposed to you than not, because you have included yourself in that hashtag. And that's why people, do like a ton of hashtags. But once again, it serves a different purpose, right? The DM and the hashtag. The hashtag is like a passive. It's active, but it's more passively getting exposure to something.
Mhm.
Whereas I think the message that DJ is sending with DMing is it's direct. It's walking up to somebody and saying, "Hey," right? As
Yeah.
opposed to saying, "Here's my resume," and like
And
mailing
wishing
your resume.
and hoping. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and sorry to interrupt. I just want to say I've been actually doing this, and it's been very effective. I got producers sending me beats from Florida. I got producers sending me beats from Croatia, and it's literally from me getting into their DMs and making some sort of like, not just like a little fire sign or like yo, that's dope. Like literally, like I wish I could show you. It's just saying like, hey dude, this beat's fucking amazing. I wrote a 16 to it. Here it is. And I'll just put what I wrote down to it. And then I'm just been like, I'm 2 years in the game and I'm slept on just like you're slept on. Maybe they have 20,000 followers or less. And then I become their friends. And the same thing as like producers that I have that I'm working with in actually Minnesota. Is I found them online, and I'm like, dude, how's making beats in quarantine affecting your mood? Like, it's really fucking with my mood. This guy's, I never even heard of this guy before. Just like DM'd him, like, and then like now he's sending me beats. So it goes beyond just people sending us beats, but the people that are just a few steps ahead of us, I think those are important people that we should be like, fuck, man, like. Yeah, SJ, please.
One thing I found about DMing is I agree, you can get in touch with anybody, right? But it's also important to be able to provide them with a project or value, and having that kind of thinking I don't know, Vic, have you heard of Noise, that rapper from Toronto? Noise, Noyz?
Yeah.
So we got in touch with him, and then like he liked a couple of beats and stuff, but we're in that moment. I'm like, I was talking to Karn about it today. Like, I made that connection with him. We made that connection back and forth, but a lot of times the other person doesn't know what should we do. And if you can be the guy that can figure out what there is to do, right? And what there is to do has to be like valuable to everybody involved. That's a big asset, because a lot of these guys are talented, whatever, but they're all looking for a project that they want to invest in. You're asking them to invest in something, and then if you can show them a return, right? Now there's an actual, because you can get in touch with anybody. I can get someone to send me the initial thing, no doubt, but to create a relationship, when they send me something, I have the responsibility of returning their investment back with a return. And I think getting good at that and being that crew or that person or that brand is what. Yeah.
Dope. Okay, let's let Brown Steve in the conversation, and then we're gonna go to D-Meth's Instagram. Brown Steve, what's popping? What's popping? Can you hear us? Oh, he's a podcast newbie. He's on mute. Come on. Where are we at?
I don't know if
I'm gonna be right back. I'm going to the washroom. I'll be right back.
Okay, cool.
You're live right now. Just kidding.
No, can't hear you still. Vic, why does this always happen?
I don't know. This is the story of my life right now.
I know.
This is what I do day in and day out at work. Is watch people try to figure out how to stream, which is fine though. Like, this is it's interesting seeing more and more people do this in this whole needing to find a way to engage, and doing it by video. Like, even me, like, I don't, very rarely would I get on camera like this.
Yeah,
And now it's just a fact of life. This is
exactly.
what you do. This is how you want to connect.
We're gonna talk about you getting in front of the camera once we talk about D-Meth and Karn and Brown Steve. We got 1 more hour. I want to just break down all of our brands and give us some practical things we could do. Let's go to D-Meth right now.
Demuth is in the washroom right now.
I know. That's okay. Let's see here. Share screen. Share screen. Entire screen. Boom. Okay, you guys see this? Okay. So content creator, Desi Method. Vic, are you laughing?
No, why would I laugh?
Better not. Jesus.
I'm not laughing at all.
Okay. What do you see here?
Who you asking?
I'm asking Karn.
And I definitely see an aesthetic.
It's coming together.
Yeah, different colors. I see him. I see a presence. You know what I mean? I see a lot of content that pulls me in from like just like how funky it is.
Yeah,
And even this, like these last 3 images right here, they're the same. Oh, and this big image, that's pretty cool.
you could tell he is experimenting, right? Like he's posting things he's interested in, which makes people get to know him. And he's also has some personal stuff in here, right?
I was there that day. I remember that.
Steve, you in there? Still
We-
no sound.
Can
I
you?
wonder if it's the headphones.
Yeah,
I'll-
try
like-
taking him out.
Okay.
No, don't kick him out. I mean, Steve, why don't you take out your headphones? You can hear us, right?
Yeah, he can hear us.
Yeah, he can
We
hear
just
us.
can't hear you.
He's gotta be on mute or something.
Yeah,
Is
his
there a-
microphone's got to be on mute.
Is there a mute on your mic?
Let me
On like
see.
on your headphones or something?
Shit. Should we just watch him try to figure it out for a bit? Where'd he go?
He disconnected.
Okay, maybe we'll try again. Okay, so I think Sandeep's doing a really good job. Like recently, personally, like I thought this was awesome. Like actually sharing something very personable. Like I think that's good. I think he's got that. I think he's on the right path. Like you can see the aesthetic coming along. Like if the page was filled with this color, these colors here that he's working with, what he's dropping, that'd be dope. I think like his ratio to people that are engaging to how many followers he has is great, which means that like people actually care. I think that like he needs to provide some sort of regular content to the viewer because there's going to be viewership for him, whether that be the podcast, the Desi Method podcast, or something else he could do every single week. Kind of like we were talking about Steve having his Freestyle Fridays. That consistency is going to help him build his brand. And then also filling these tabs up. Like Desi Method should have a tab and go to his website. And you can tell he's an artist by looking at his stuff. Vic, what could you do that I'm missing that you feel?
What can he do?
Yeah.
You can just do more.
What can you do for growth?
Just do more and just be more consistent with it. Is like I'm not saying this is what I do, but this is what I would recommend is just do more. Like when you go further down into his feed,
Yeah.
there's a lot more of the personable. Yeah. And like his engagement is really good on this one.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
how many
I like this,
comments is
man.
this one?
I personally like the selfies. You know, like I feel like maybe he could ask a question since his engagement is so good. If he just asked a question, like kind of at the end, or like, you know, like kind of prompt engagement more. He's sharing what he's feeling, and he's now putting himself in front of the camera, which is great, and with the written text. But if he were to have something where, you know, like, how do you deal with this? Or I think that he'd have even more questions more comments. Do you agree, Vic?
Yeah, so like if you just hover over top, so close this, but just
Uh-huh.
hover over top of some of these posts.
Okay.
So just hover. So like 102 likes, that's like a third of his following, and seven comments, right? So if you just go through another one, so it's about the same. Scroll down, scroll down, scroll down. I saw one. So that one, go up one, the no flex one, the one in the middle. So that's how many plays. So that's the video as well as the engagement, like the comments. And then let's see if he's been replying to them. Click view reply.
Yeah.
Oh, yes, he has.
Look at that.
Yes, he has. So each and every
Yeah.
one, like,
Oh, he's Go ahead. Sorry.
but you know, it doesn't have to be a huge thing. Like these people aren't engaging him in like an open-ended question. They're, you know, they're showing their love, and he's showing his appreciation back. But if somebody, so is there a comment there where somebody said something more other than like, this is great? And if so, like here, you left a longer comment. Is there a particular reason why
Where?
with Mandy Baines?
Yeah, because he was one of the contributors to the video. He helped translate the whole English stuff into the Punjabi rating.
Can Brown Steve hear us? God
Steve.
damn it. He could hear us, but he can't fucking say shit. All right. Brown Steve, hold on. You're just going to have to hear us because we're going to talk about your channel soon as well.
Hold on. So Brown Steve, can you just type in the chat? You're using your phone. Are you using? Can you try a different internet browser to join StreamYard? Like, can you try Chrome? Are you using the Chrome browser? Okay, so try the Chrome browser and then hop back in.
Okay. I really think the only thing that's holding you back is the lack of content. You're leaving so much opportunity on the table. You just need to deliver some sort of regular content. I think your growth is going to be great. I think that, you know, regular content and building a community around Desi Method, like something where people can contribute, whether you're taking calls on a podcast or like bringing up topics and getting people's input in. I think that that's only going to help your music. Do you have any questions for us, like that might help you see something that maybe you don't see?
One thing I learned already is, so like from my perspective, I might feel like it's regular content, but if I don't articulate it, it doesn't feel regular to anybody else, right? So I think sharing like when something's coming out a week ahead or 2 weeks ahead, giving a little bit of a schedule.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing, the community building thing, that's awesome. Like, so podcast is one. Is there anything else you guys could think of to kind of help people? Because there's no call to action. It's just me saying stuff and people can comment, but there's nowhere where someone feels like they're part of a family or something. So if podcast is good, is there anything else that you guys could think of? And people could
Vic?
Are you so in terms of your interests, are you engaging other people? Like, even if it's not through Instagram direct messaging, but emailing, phone calls, other platforms, are you connecting with other other professionals, other artists, other, do you mean like-minded individuals?
I'll be honest, when like a project drops, like No Flex drops, then I start trying to reach out, and it's not really that effective because I kind of want something at that point, and maybe that's why. But I didn't get that engagement I thought I would get with a lot of people. Like I reached out to Bobby Friction, I reached out to a lot of these guys, and I didn't. But in between, I don't really reach out and engage with people. No. So like, what could I like to do work and stuff? Are you saying like to work together and stuff like that?
If you want to do work, then do work. But this is really just having conversations. It's kind of like building up a relationship with somebody versus waiting until you need something to reach out, need something or want something, right? You know, it might sound amazing and cool and worth a shot in your head, but what are the chances that they're going to respond with a yeah, that sounds amazing, versus just kind of being like, I don't know who this person is. Like if somebody reached out to you and said, oh hey, yada yada yada, but it kind of sounded like you weren't exposed to them before, you didn't know who they were. I think it was when like Twitter, Instagram was first kind of blowing up. I feel like this was here too. Did Deadmau5 come here?
Deadmau5 have been here many times.
I'm sure he has. But I feel
Come to
like
the Olympics.
yeah, this was years ago, and there was like a young girl who like was like invited backstage, blah blah blah, this that, took a picture with him, and she was like a local girl, just like a random just person. But part of the reason why, you know, she was able to have that experience is she was having a dialogue with Deadmau5 before that, right? Just, you know, as a fan, as like, do you know what I mean? Like, so getting that exposure and getting in that, building in that relationship, you're more likely to see somebody be like, oh yeah, for sure, I know you, I trust you, I'm ready to like, yeah, or just say, hey, you know, drop by, let's see what's up, right? So
I think having a bigger body of work and a consistent content per week is only going to help you have leverage, because if you started a podcast, people are going to watch it, especially when you start clipping stuff that you're talking about. You're very captivating when you speak and you have very good ideas. I think that you can even pimp out your own music on your podcast like I do, and people are going to get to know, like, and trust you, which we talked about earlier is more important than just liking someone's music. People aren't liking someone's music. It's more than that. They're liking that human being when they're consuming it. And I've just been noticing that personally. It's like as my podcast is growing a little bit more, that my music's growing a little bit more. It's like hand in hand. Like you were asking outside of podcasting, I really favor podcasting personally because it's easy to create content. It's just get the clips chopped up and there's your content. SJ, go ahead.
Or like the workshop Steve did. That was a great way for people to get engaged. So having a workshop about something that, like, I don't think we should be afraid to be leaders in what we do and standing up for that. Like, I know Vic's so humble when it comes to his video stuff. I'll always tell him, you know, why don't you pursue this? You're freaking a virtuoso in this. Like, you know, like you're insane in this. And he'll be like, there's people that are better than me. There's people that are better than me. And I think there's always going to be people that are better than us. Quentin Tarantino can say, I'm not going to create visuals because, you know, Dali creates the best visuals. And I can't claim to be a leader in this field. But at the same time, like, we're always leaders to somebody, right? And I think like that workshop, like Steve, you know, it's not like he went out and got a PhD in psychiatry and et cetera, but you took that leadership role, and a lot of people were able to engage because you decided to say, hey, I'm going to be a leader in this field.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Not successful. Thank you so much, firstly, for inviting me to have this conversation and to be a part of this. I think I mentioned today in my Freestyle Friday, like this is a collective, what we're doing. This is a crew, it's a collective, it's a group of friends. To touch on what SJ just said, it's a fine line to walk between humbleness and humility and, my shit don't stink. And I think that there is both of those aspects that you have to have as an artist. You have to have the ability to know that there's probably somebody better than you and you're, aspiring to be that, but that there's also the other aspect of you being like, no, you know what, my shit is dope. Going back to what DJ said 10 minutes ago or so about him getting contacts throughout the world from producers that are like, yo man, your shit's dope, here's some beats, here's some beats, here's some beats. Some of those people have been reaching out to me. So like in the last 2 weeks, I've got people from around the world sending me their links being like, yo, here's 2-for-1 beats, $10.99 for 2 beats, like, yo, your shit's dope. And for me, like, I'm so humble that I'm like, yo man, I really appreciate that, you're amazing for recognizing my music and blah blah. And this dude, after like 3 messages back and forth, was like, yo man, you need to stop being so humble. He's like, your shit is dope, and that's why I'm telling you it's dope, because it is dope. Like, you need to stop telling me thank you, thank you, thank you. He's like, here's my link, download my beats, spit some rhymes over my beats. So it gets to this point where we of course want to stay humble, but when other people are recognizing your talent, you need to stop, take a breath and pause and figure out that you do have talent, like believe in yourself. And I think that from a perspective of humility, it's hard to believe in yourself because you feel like maybe you aren't as good as you think you are. But when people tell you are, you need to grab that baton and fucking run with it, man, because maybe you are better than you think you are.
I think that like you clearly being more comfortable in front of the camera recently and putting yourself out there, allowing yourself to be vulnerable and also giving instead of taking, those are all lessons that we could learn from. And I think that some people, think that like my shit don't stink and I'm the boss, but like most people in here are undervaluing themselves, I believe, especially Vic.
100%.
I just think you're undervaluing yourself. And I think that by you, Steve, kind of like making that incremental steps that you made, it's having an impact. And I hope that Vic can pick it up and like pursue some of his own projects, because I'm always fucking asking him for help for things. And I was saying earlier, it's hard for me to like even ask sometimes anymore because he's helped me so much with things, and I want to extend it back. I don't want it just to be a one-way street. So I don't think anyone here is just like, I'm the shit, I'm the boss. We all know we need to get all our skills up, like our music, our business, our art, how we're communicating our messages. We're all trying to be leaders here. So, and we also recognize we've got a lot of work to do. I don't think there's no ego issues in this group at all. So I just wanted to throw that out there. Before we move on, we got another 45 minutes. Desi Method, can we help his brand out with anything else, guys? Sunny, do you have any other questions that we could provide any clarity on that maybe you might be missing, or something that might you're working on that we could help you with specifically?
Yeah, if there's anything like you guys feel like I could do, you guys follow a lot of different brands. You guys follow a lot of different artists. Karn, I know you are a curator of the culture. You follow a lot of brands, and he was the one that said every music release has to have a video with it, because the guys were following Sidhu Moosewala, Brown Boys and stuff were doing that. But if there's anything you guys see, like, bro, if you did this, I know DJ said podcasting, so I'm gonna take it seriously. And like, if there's anything you guys feel like, should I say this? Like, just let me know. Even if it's now or at any time, you're like, bro, try this, or do this, or once a week drop this. Yeah.
I think that, to kind of piggyback off of what you just said, there are certain elements that you want to take from what the culture is doing and what other people are doing, but there's also a perspective, which I'm in right now, which is I don't give a fuck what anyone else is doing. I don't really care what anyone else is doing. I was thinking about this for the last day, was this whole podcast conversation that DJ's created in regards to branding, leveraging, has everything to do with, first and foremost, figuring out who the hell you are and what the hell you represent as far as your art is concerned and as far as you are concerned as a person. If if you're watching the news and something sparks an interest in you, something sparks a rage in you, that is something that hits your heartstrings in a certain way. You need to express that. And DJ mentioned this earlier when we were looking at your Instagram page, Sandeep, that it was personable. There's things that interest you. There's things that you are that you like, and that connect with other people. And if there's anything that I've learned in the last few months about being isolated and quarantined, and then social agendas that have come up across the U.S. and the world, is that it's people relying on people. It's people relying on, nobody gives a shit. It's like the old Dave Chappelle line, nobody gives a shit what Ja Rule thinks right now. You know what I mean? Like, nobody cares what celebrities think. Everyone wants to care what the average fucking Joe thinks. And when you look around the world and you see protests going around, these are common, regular people that all are afflicted with the same thing and that all feel the same thing. So sure, there's things to do about, following trends and this and that, but it's really all about, who the fuck am I? What do I represent? And as soon as that is figured out, everything else is easy money. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's like once you figure out what your message is, your content is second nature, and everything else that follows suit with that. And I don't want to hog all the airtime, because I know you initially asked this question to Karin, who's sitting back and looking like Suge Knight. If we can get Karin to jump in and answer that question, it'd be great.
No, man, I've been talking for 2 hours. You can steal the airtime anytime.
You don't want me to get going. I won't shut up.
Sandeep, we need some regular content, man. Regular content. And then that's just gonna help drive more traffic, and like maybe an idea of just like literally starting a podcast and having conversations, like I have conversations, inviting people on. Like, people are down to take part.
I think in a podcast ties up, I think the three main areas of feedback I got, which were, I need regular, consistent content on that page. I need to have conversations with people, not only when I put out stuff, but I need to create real relationships. Podcasting is good for that, and it's a way of giving and not like taking. It has nothing to really do with music. I'm kind of giving that, so I think maybe that'll be my focus going forward.
Awesome. If you need any help with StreamYard services, I spent a ton of hours figuring this out. It's not hard. I could help you with all the information on that. And we can literally get a Destiny Method podcast going in a weekend. So
Yeah,
you sit down with yourself and like decide if you something you want to pursue.
Yeah.
And then we can make it happen. Brown Steve.
Yo, I think that what you just said, Sandeep, in terms of like giving back, kind of crosses boundaries in terms of what not only I've talked about, but what we've all talked about individually and together in terms of mental health stuff. Is like, everything we're all doing right now is giving back. When you watch DJ's videos of him working out with fucking Polaris water bottles and, in the middle of the field doing crazy shit, that's him giving inspiration back to anyone, any one person. But maybe it's more than one person, but just one person is what we're always trying to connect to. So him doing that is connecting and giving back. This inspiration is for free. You know what I'm saying? And so like him doing those exercises and those things is him giving that back for free. About a year ago, DJ was doing these, he had like a band set up and he had the mic with the cord and set up in the room and spitting freestyles and doing like music. Like, that is free inspiration, giving back to people, getting other people to think like, yo, I do that shit too. How come I can't post that up on YouTube or, or make a track with my buddy? What Karin's been doing recently with the, what do you call it, Karin? The one that you in real life, IRL, in real life. So, that's giving back to people. That's free inspiration. That's free messaging. Well, Sandeep, you're doing the same thing with your own journeys with mental health, with your own journeys through music, we're all giving back to people. And I think what we're doing is we're establishing this model of, I think, what we want to create and what we want to grow. More importantly, right? Like you need to have a starting point before you need to have an intro to a story before you can have the body of the story. And I think what we're doing right now is we're creating a hell of an intro. And even if people recognize what we were doing, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, fucking maybe 10 years ago, right now they're getting it, with a punch in the face, and they're getting that shit heavy, and they're getting content regularly. And this is kind of speaking to what DJ has said and what Vic has said early in the conversation. There's an old radio sales term, which is concept is king. And concept is king makes sense when it comes to the idea of, writing a storyline or a storyboard or whatever. But in today's day and age, content is fucking king. And so the more content we create and the more valuable or effective that content is, the more eyes that are on it, the more everything is analytics, man. Everything is analytics. Basketball is analytics. Music is analytics. And it's like we're on the right phase. We're on the right page. Now it's taking what we've learned individually and talking about it the way we are now as a group, and then just continuing to build, continuing to let that boulder roll down the fucking hill and create
Momentum, man, and having platforms for ourselves. Like, we're not going to build a brand if we don't have any interest in creating a community. So I think that's a huge focus. Like Desi Method, if you created a podcast community and I created a podcast community, and Karn or whoever does, we're going to have so many people listening and involved with us. And like I went earlier into our examples of like how like Seth Rogen's in all the same movies with his buddies. It's the same thing. They're all sending each other traffic. They're all in each other's movies. It's because of their relationships that they built. That's their fucking worth right there. Their network is their net worth.
If I can, let me ask you a question then, DJ. Does it make more sense for us to individually create those channels, or say to ourselves, DJ's got the podcast game on lock, let's build that as his venue? You know what I mean? Like DJ's got the game, the podcast game, so that's where we're gonna go anytime we have a message to talk about. Like, let's go to DJ shit, because let's build him up so that he becomes the fucking Charlie Rose or the Larry King of our group. You know what I mean? Like, why wouldn't we want to build him up, and like, we can all do our own things here and there, and then maybe we do that on the side, but does it make more sense for us to build you up as that and then us to create content separately?
I don't know, man. I don't know. All I know is that I feel people are starving to consume things, and that by you guys not having something consistently on your own goes against my ideas about self-reliance. And I also feel like, sharing resources and sharing traffic and having all of our own platforms, but also cross promoting just means that we're going to have a bigger pool of people. Because like there's not, maybe people, Desi Method doesn't know about my music, or maybe they might like my music, but maybe a couple of them will. So then by me being on Desi Method's podcast, then I get exposure to them. Maybe, I have people that I'm trying to talk to about, depression and anxiety, and I'm doing my thing, but then you have your own channel. So of course I want to be the half Chinese Larry King of our crew for sure. But at the same time, I just feel that, there's just so much opportunity on the table that I've just seen from this whole experience of podcasting the past couple of months that I feel it's a tool. SJ.
There used to be, back in the day, I think it was like medieval times, they used to have the Renaissance men, right? That would be like painter, like Da Vinci was like a painter,
Da
sculptor.
Vinci, yep,
Mhm.
Rembrandt.
I feel like the new wave is content creator, you know, and I'm hearing a lot of young people use that term for what they want to do.
Mhm.
I kind of shifted that way, and I don't look at any of us as just one thing, even though we have strengths that are predominant.
Mhm.
I think we're all content creators.
Producers. That's all a content creator is a producer. It's the same thing. Producing something, having an idea, whether it's music, whether it's a business, whether it's a piece of art, and being able to have that come to fruition through your actions. That's what a content creator is. Whether it's a 30-second TikTok video that you're going to produce, or you're going to produce a kettlebell course, or you're going to produce music, you know, I just think that you're right, SJ. And also, we're businessmen at the same time. We got to be, we need to know how digital marketing works. And that's going to lead for us to be self-reliant, to not rely on other people. It goes back to fuck you money, right? Like, make enough fuck you money so you can say, fuck you, I don't want to wake up at 5 a.m. to do that. Like, that's my
Digital,
goal.
baby.
So, I want to move on to Karn. Anything else for Desi Method before we move on? Okay, cool. Karn, what are we doing? What's the aim? What's the mission? What are we trying to produce? What do you want to produce? What do you want to focus on? What work do you want to do for the next 10 years?
Yo, for me, I'm still trying to kind of figure it out. Like SJ said earlier, those lines are a little bit blurry for myself. But I am finding a lot of excitement out of figuring out, okay, how do I want to live my lifestyle? And that lifestyle portion really rings loud to me. Like, I'm watching. You mentioned like the whole thing about like reviewing music or this that, and I've talked to you about it before. It's like, I would love to be involved in seeking out new artists and having conversations with them, or even doing workflow interviews and things like that. So I would like to be able to make my page about my interests. You know what I mean? What's up?
Brown Steve.
Can I tell you, Karn, right now? I think that, Karn, you already know your fucking lane, dude. Like, you have your lane. Like, as an artist, let's take it back to the basics. As an artist, you're a visual artist. You draw, you take pictures, you do things that are very visually stimulating.
Mhm.
That is your original base of where you come from in terms of art. You've added all these pieces along the way. You've added the music. In the last, I want to say in the last like year, dude, you've started to find your voice.
Mhm.
And that's been very evident to me when you're doing the IRL videos, because that's just you raw, uncut, unedited. Remember when you had your thumb in front of the fucking camera and you didn't even know until you called yourself out and you're like, oh shit, I had my thumb in front. That is, you know what your lane is. And like, when you say things like, you want to develop other artists and all this kind of stuff, like I'll go back to what I said earlier. In the last year, almost exactly a year, I went through a very serious burnout. And the greatest thing I did for myself was not give a fuck about what anything that was going on around me, what anyone was doing, what music sounded like, what people were wearing, what any of that shit, because I get to re-identify with who I was. And I feel like in the last year, you've kind of gone through that phase as well. And it's not about, and I understand that it's a hard place to be in to answer a question about like where you want to be or what you're trying to pursue or what you're trying to do in the next decade or so and all that kind of stuff. It's big shit to answer, but you've already established one thing, and that's the most important thing, is understanding who you are. Once you understand who you are, everything else will follow suit. Your content will follow suit. Your message will follow suit. The people that are surrounding you will follow suit, etc., etc.
I was watching an ET the Preacher video the other day, and man, I agree with him in the sense that if we don't commit to something, then there's nothing happening. I think being able to detach is one strength, but staying in total detachment is only valuable because it gives you the space to commit to what you want to commit to.
Mhm.
And that's like I think that's very important. It's like what Steve said, finding out who you are first and foremost, and then again, same thing for me. What do I want to commit to? What does this guy want to commit to? What does this guy want to commit to? You know?
Oh, makes
Did
perfect
Vic,
sense.
did Vic have something to say?
Oh,
I
and
think
I was just gonna quote Mr. Paran Patel here.
Mm.
I was having a conversation with him a week or so ago, and discussing some of the things that were on my mind, this, that, and he said, he's like, I think, like, you already know what you want to do, or you know what you're going to do. You just have to decide to do it,
Mm.
Yeah, 100%.
right?
Like, I think let me pose this question to every one of you guys right now. Every one of us knows, ideally in our mind, what we want out of our physical aspects of our life, our mental aspects of our life, our career aspects. Everyone has an aspiration. Everyone has a dream. And every morning when every one of you motherfuckers wake up and brush your teeth and look at yourself in the mirror, there's no other person that is going to define the truth for you other than that person in that moment. And I guarantee you, every one of us looked in the mirror at that moment and is just like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I could be in better shape. I should be eating better food. I should feel more refreshed. I should feel more awake. I'm excited about today. I'm excited about this next project I'm going to work on, whatever. It's exactly that, Vic, man. You're 100% right. We all know what we want to do. It's just a matter of fucking doing it, man. It's just a matter of putting that on paper. You know what I'm saying? I think putting things on paper is more valuable than anything. You know what I'm saying? Like, once you write that shit down, you have to commit to it. When you and SJ did that IG live and you were doing the no flex video and you put the date on him and you said, yo, we're going to do this on whatever the fuck it was, May 12th or May 21st. I can't remember the date. You made that commitment right then and there. There's no way you can go back on that. And if you did, going back to earlier in the conversation, everyone that feels like they can connect to you and they can rely on you and they trust you would have lost all of that shit in a fucking heartbeat. But you guys committed to it instantaneously. And I think going back to what DJ said earlier, it is all about the collective. It is all about doing this shit together. So it's like, we might look at ourselves in the mirror and feel this way or that way or whatever. But when we sit down and discuss these things, like, I call Karn and Sandeep obsessively every day, annoyingly. And I'm like, yo, man, check this out. This is my next idea. This is what we're going to do. This is how the song's going to sound. And there's days they don't pick up. And I'm just like, yeah, I get that, because I'm like a fucking operator, like, telecalling these motherfuckers all day, every day. That is super important, because if we didn't have that, then no one would give a shit. You know what I'm saying?
I think that, like, I don't know if Karn, you deal with any fear of judgment, or Vic.
Time, bro.
Like, SJ, go ahead. Sorry.
You can keep it on the group, by the way. The thing, but
Yeah.
I shared this with Karn today. I think I might have shared it with Steve too. But fear of judgment's a funny thing. Sorry to cut you off and just start talking, but I'm kind of excited about the hate I got on No Flex. I got called old. I got called bald. I got called this guy fucking sucks. He needs to get jumped. I got fucking DMs coming at me.
Did you really?
You did, man.
Granted, it was 3% of the total engagement that I got back, and the people that mattered, I never got it. I got different engagement. Like, you guys are the ones that matter. If you guys said that to me, I might take it a little seriously. But
Yo, Steve, did you hear what he said?
Yeah.
But here's the thing, though.
We talked about that when Sandeep posted that in our WhatsApp group. I said, yo, man, the greatest thing about this person that hates your music is they're going to go out of their fucking way to tell everyone they know that they should listen to this song because it sucks. So now the person goes out of their way to tell 10 people let's just say he told one fucking person, and he's just like, yo, you should listen to this one guy because he sucks. And then that one guy listens to it and is like, yo, he's great. You're whack. And then he tells 10 of his friends. Imagine that chain reaction.
Let's just leave it on the group here. But I'm like, I totally agree, right? Because the thing is that the haters, they are investing time in you. They used up part of their time to not just hate on you, but tell you that they're hating on you.
Yeah, one guy specifically was like talked about the whole video, and I'm like, "Oh, bro, you watched the whole video because you hated on every part." But what I wanted to say, the reason I brought it up was I thought I didn't want to just bring that up for the story, but fear of judgment. You know, you guys beyond this brotherhood, look into your hearts and really ask yourself, is there fear of judgment? And if I look into my heart deep enough, at some point there is still a fear of judgment. But what I want to say is that picture that I put up the other day about my dark skin, I had it written out and I didn't press send right away. I didn't know when I should press send and when it should go up. I wasn't sure. But when I read this certain DM hate come at me from Instagram, it gave me the strength to go post that, right? So our fears become our allies at some point.
Hey guys, Alicia Keys, If I Ain't Got You, one of the most beautiful fucking songs ever written. 32,000 dislikes.
Yeah.
32,000 dislikes.
That's probably $32,000 in her pocket right there.
But were we, sorry, I want to take it back. Were we asking Karn if there's fear of judgment? Is that what was happening?
Yeah, I'm just trying to see what's holding him back because, like, I keep on hearing about IRL. You know, it's a good idea. I saw a car today that had IRL decals on it. It was like some realty firm. And it's like, why isn't that on your car? You know, like why is there no consistency? There's no. It's like a idea that almost has a full concept, but it's not there yet. Like, are you putting out art once a week? Are you having a conversation? Like, why is anyone gonna buy any of your clothing or merch if we are not providing them any
value?
Exactly. Like, we're trying to figure out what that is. If you don't know what that is, that's fair. But you know, I think just I could say podcast all day.
About putting out content. Do you think
Sorry,
so?
what's that?
Do you think you have fear of judgment of putting something out?
For sure, bro. I mean, yeah, definitely have a fear of judgment. And that was kind of my last IRL that I dropped, was talking about the fear of it all too, right? And it's something that I'm definitely learning to overcome. But as you start, I've noticed that it's like cooking. I was talking to Steve about cooking, and one of the things that I had mentioned about cooking for myself was I just didn't know what the ingredients were. I didn't know what tools to use, and I didn't know how to get creative in the kitchen with it, right? And now, as we're having this leverage talk, and DJ's throwing out ideas, and Sandeep's throwing out ideas, and you know, Vic and Brown Steve are throwing out ideas. It's like, okay, now I have more tools to work with. Now I have more leverage in my game, and I know how to be creative in my playing field. Even before, I didn't know. Like, you know, maybe I'm thinking like, okay, I'm dropping this content. What is it worth? Is it going anywhere? Yada yada. But you know, DJ had mentioned with his podcast earlier, he said, I'm on my 98th video. Maybe the first 97 didn't hit, but the 98th one did, right? But you got to find that consistency. And I think that just happens through muscle memory, right?
Exercising that, like Vic and Karn, I think for you guys, exercising that. Like, Vic, I know you don't like being in front of the camera. I get it. You know, if you don't like being in front of the camera, but if you're going to be a game show host, you know, we're going to have to exercise some of that shit. Like, I'm not saying jump into the deep end right away and write some huge touching post and like take a selfie of you really up close right away. But like, if you're like, if that's an issue, then it's something we're going to have to help you get over by exercising that. Brown Steve, sorry.
I just want to jump in there to piggyback off what you're saying to Vic. I think that There's this guy, his name is Ivan Barrios, and he does a lot of the film and photography for like DJ Khaled and Jay-Z and all these guys in Rockefeller. And I follow him on Instagram. He literally never says a word. He barely ever shows his face, but he shows his work. And the people that represent his work show his work and big him up all the time. So I think from a behind the camera perspective, it is challenging as fuck, because you behind the camera for a reason. You're behind the camera because you don't like being in front of the camera.
Mhm.
I love being in front of the camera, and I would love to be behind the camera if I knew how the hell that world existed. But from your perspective, it could be, to explain to people how you formulate why you show them something, why you're showing them a certain angle. So it's almost like, do you remember pop-up video with fucking Much Music? Like, it gave you this perspective of like, this is why they shot this scene. This is why this person's in the movie. Oh shit, this is a cameo by so and so forth. So it's like, if you're able to somehow, it's about bringing the viewer in, right? And it's like something that I learned from radio when I was in radio school, and when I was doing radio, was like, you have no visual, you have only audio. You have to try to capture someone's imagination and someone's attention within 3 seconds. It's just not a very long time. And if you don't capture that in 3 seconds, they're fucking gone. And if I have seen a lot of your video content and you capture my attention in a heartbeat. So maybe it's other aspiring directors and photographers and video makers that are trying to see what you're doing. They're like, yo man, how did that cat do that? Or like, why did he do that? Or whatever. Maybe it's figuring out who your audience is and how to speak to them in what language they'll understand, and and what they might get and what that other people won't get. You know what I'm saying? And so maybe it's that. It's establishing who the fuck you're trying to talk to. You know what you do, but it's like trying to establish who it is you're trying to convey this message to.
You good, SJ?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Car.
I just want to say sorry.
Yeah, please.
Totally
Full
agree
screen,
with you,
Vic,
Steve.
let's go.
Totally agree with you. No, it's just really short. Totally agree with you, Steve. I do follow Ivan on Insta as well,
Nice.
right? A couple of those photographers that, they're following around, Diddy and Jay-Z and Khaled and stuff like that, and they're behind the scenes. They're developing their craft, and it's that lifestyle too. It's like they're showcasing their lifestyle, and it's something that people who work with visual mediums and even audio, but visual mediums, what they produce is, it seems like they're not in the frame, but the fact is that they are the frame. They're when I every now and then, when we take a photo of something, family photo, group of friends or something, or I look back on weddings I've shot and things like that, even though yes, the focal point, the imagery, everything like that is focused on whoever's in the frame, I still see myself there, just because that's through my,
You created the fucking frame.
well, it's from my perspective, not necessarily like creating it, but yeah, I did, right? So I don't feel like I necessarily lost out on some kind of opportunity to be in front of the camera. But there's a story that goes behind that. Like I can sometimes remember exactly where I was, what moments transpired around that scene.
Exactly. Right. And so like what you're saying, you're speaking a language that other photographers and videographers understand. To me, that sounds cool. But to other people that do what you do, they'd be like, oh shit, I want to know more about that. Like, let me get into your world a little bit more. Maybe that's what I'm trying to say, is like, whatever language you're talking about, the concepts that you see, the eye that you see, like when you and I did our, after I did my mental health thing and we did like a one-on-one thing, and you had this idea of a video that you wanted to shoot with me, it sounded great to me because I can visualize it. But for another like videographer, photographer watching that, they can probably get right into your head and be like, oh shit, that's what he's talking about. You know what I'm saying? So maybe like to kind of answer part of DJ's question, perhaps, is that maybe that's, you know, part of your niche is speaking to that community because they fucking get it. You know what I mean? Like they get it because you're immersed in it. You know it. You've been learning it. You've been trying to figure it out. And maybe there's, you know, just the same way like Sandeep produces music, the same way I rap. I'm trying to reach one fucking kid that's just like, oh shit, he flipped that bar that way, or listening to Sandeep's music and being like, oh, he put an Indian fucking flute into this beat. Like I would have never done it. You know what I'm saying? So it's like speaking to the community of people who are doing the same shit you're doing. Sorry that I swear so much. This is how I get down.
Hey,
Yeah, you don't
Karn,
even swear in your music, bro.
I know.
hey, Karn, did we give you any insight, like, to, you know, we think that you could produce something with IRL regularly on the regular content.
100%.
That's like the biggest takeaway for you, I think, is like it's an idea that since I've known you, you've kind of had. There's a little bit of brand confusion with Parovision and IRL. That might be something that needs to get fleshed out, like which account you're gonna push. And SJ, go ahead.
Yeah, like I think for all of us, we know if we ask each one of us what do we want to do in 10 years, we kind of have a blurry answer. But if we say, are you trying to make your own brand work? We'd all say yes. You know, do you want to work full time for your own brand? We'd all say yes. So we know what we want.
Mhm.
Now it's going back to what Vic originally said in the starting of the conversation. It's just like, you know, recognizing each, looking into ourselves and saying, what does everyone around me kind of say are my strengths? And not to say that's the only thing we can do, but
Mhm.
moving into those and using that as an opportunity, because we are not guaranteed any kind of success in this at all. You know, we can try and we still might not succeed. So I think to make the odds in our favor, I think letting go of the idea that we I think it was Vic that said that quote, we know what we want.
Mhm.
You know, it's like recognizing what, you know, call it God, whatever. Each one of us are given strengths and weaknesses, and then leaning, again, what Vic said, leaning into those strengths.
Brown Steve.
And to piggyback off what Sandeep just said, I think that it is challenging to answer long-term questions. And I think that I'll give you an example of, I was watching this doctor on a podcast or an interview, and he was dealing with patients who were trying to get in shape. And instead of, you know, giving them these large goals, he would tell them to meditate for 1 minute a day or to do 5 push-ups a day. Now, anyone can fucking meditate for a minute a day. Anyone can do 5 push-ups a day. So his theory, who's fucking playing music in the background? Anyways,
Yeah.
so the theory that he had that he put into practice was he would tell his patients that were trying to get in shape, he'd be like, go do 5 push-ups a day.
I see.
And these people would do 5 push-ups, and then, you know, 3 or 4 days later, they're doing 15 push-ups,
I
they're
see.
doing 20 push-ups, they're doing 25 push-ups. So it's like breaking it down. So like when I started the Freestyle Friday thing, like I was sitting in the living room of my house, and literally every single week that I drop a Freestyle Friday, because of quarantine and because of my work schedule and having kids at home, I literally have an hour break in the day where I go work out for half an hour. After my workout's done, I sit in my car, I turn my phone on, and I do my freestyle, and I go back home, I cook dinner, I hang out with my kids, and I post my shit online. So I'm just trying to fit in one small thing instead of trying to like create this massive fucking, you know, this massive project.
You know, I should clarify the reason I state like that, and I think I state that to myself, like, what do I want to do for the next 10 years? Because I want us, everyone in this group, to recognize that this is a long-term game we're playing, and we're only at the beginning of our run right now.
Yo, Perrin asked me what I want to do for the next 330 years last time I talked to him.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
exactly.
It's going to take a lot of effort and a lot of work, and we're going to have peaks along the way and valleys. So I get what you're saying. Like, we want to give ourselves tangible things if you need that to, like, something that's very reachable and goals, like if you're not feeling motivated. But just from like my perspective, it's like, I'm not
And
trying
you,
to get rich tomorrow, like I'm 37 now and I'm 47. I plan to be very wealthy and get paid for all the work that we're establishing right now. And I
Mm-hmm.
feel like we're at the beginning of a run in all of our endeavors.
100%.
So I'm just saying, like, it's when I mean 10 years, I'm just saying, like, this isn't like, oh, I'm going to make 100 podcasts and all of a sudden I'm going to be set. No, I
Yeah.
might do 500 podcasts,
Yeah.
and I think you said something to me like last week or 2 weeks ago, and I think all of us have to keep an eye on this. Is what is our daily practice?
Mhm.
At the end of the
100%.
day, it's not just about making moves. It's a daily practice. What are we committing to practice for the rest of our lives?
Mhm.
It's your lifestyle, man. It's your life. It's what you want to get out of every single day.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Hey guys, we got like another 15. I want to make sure we go over a little bit of Brown Steve's projects and then Vic's. Karn, is there anything else that we can help you with? Can we provide you with any more clarity or insight?
No, man. I think it's pretty clear what I need to do. It's just about that, make it like I think it was Vic who said it. You gotta, or Vic, Karen said it to Vic. You gotta make that decision to do it.
Mhm.
Um, and I think I have to start utilizing the resources around me. Like I'm really intrigued by the idea you mentioned about starting to make videos on your interests and just engaging your platform more, because I think that's one of my strengths um, is communicating with people and whatnot, and that's kind of what I want to do. So, like Vic said, make the decision to follow through with it now, right? So I got some work to do, boys.
Copy that. Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
Everyone does.
Steve, I haven't talked to you in 20 years, and it seems like I just been talking to you since like yesterday or something.
I know, man.
Okay.
Ain't that
So
some shit?
let's talk about what you're trying to do. Like, clearly you are an advocate for mental health and you're working on music. What do you see as building a platform for yourself? And are there any like business endeavors you're trying to mix in with that? And what are your goals with music and content creation for the next couple of years?
I think that for me, it is that's like a multi-layered answer. I think that having gone through a serious mental health episode, that's something that speaks really dearly to my heart, and something that I've done a lot of research on. I've always said that there's three things that connect everyone in this world. It's food, music, and sports, and those are three things that I've spent countless hours dedicating my life to. And now, the mental health thing just sort of is, you constantly go through life. Life is never supposed to be, linear in any perspective. It's supposed to constantly change and shift and go up and down, and you just have to be able to fucking deal with it. And for me, I think that my goals are to kind of organize all of my interest in such a way that I can, that I can provide a message and a platform and a resource and a place for people to gain something from me. I don't want to, if you're going to give me $1, I want to give you $2 worth of, what I'm saying, knowledge or something to take away from it. Like, I'm not trying to do anything for the direct result of money. I'm just trying to do shit for the passion, for the love, for the service, for the servitude of other people. Because anything that I've gained in my life from music, from sports, from mental health is shit that I've taken from other people. So the only way I feel like I can profit off that, whether that's financially or not, or financially or spiritually profit off something, is to give back to somebody else. Like I say, like, I feel like in our community, in our culture for brown people, we don't talk about this shit at all. We don't talk about being successful with music. We don't talk about being successful talking about mental health and establishing our feelings and our emotions and all those kinds of things, which is a fucking trip to me because yoga, meditation, and Buddhism all came from India. So why the fuck would we not take advantage of that? Right? Like, it's such a trip.
This
So
is
for me,
sorry, I just want to
No, go
interrupt quickly and say like this is a perfect conversation for a Desi Method podcast. Like
yeah.
you guys should have that conversation. Absolutely. Like sorry, go ahead, Steve.
No, straight up though, man. I mean, I think for me, I've come in the last week, I've come to a point where I've organized everything on paper of like, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to reorganize my YouTube page to look like this. And I have enough content on Instagram that hasn't even touched YouTube yet. And so for me, it's like, yo, I have a YouTube channel, but everything I've done content wise for the last 2+ years has all been on Instagram. So it's like, now how do I showcase that on this venue? And how do I do it strategically enough that I can, so like today was week 9 Freestyle Friday. Next week is week 10. So after week 10, I plan on re-releasing everything from 1 through 10 on YouTube in a coordinated fashion so that everyone on YouTube that's connected to me through YouTube can get the same fucking effect and the same shit that I'm giving everyone on Instagram.
What about like email mailing list or something like you put out like your email address to people. There's people that we've shown demonstrations of before you came on this call that literally put their phone number on their bio and be like, yo, like you can text me here, I think that's like I like your conversations with depression and anxiety, and that it could be tough for you to do that every single week. I'm not too sure because it could just be something that triggers you or you don't want to talk about anymore. But I think that that's super powerful, and if you could offer some sort of like, if you just shot videos of yourself talking about it and put one out even once a week, and you could use that on email, because one day, boys, Instagram's gonna not be it anymore, and Facebook's not gonna be it anymore. Just like MySpace wasn't, it's not anymore. But email seems to be like the safest way, which is why I have my email list, and I make sure that I'm going to be spending more time on that because, people 45 and up actually might not be even seeing our messages because they're not on social like our generation, like every single day, So that's one thing I wanted to bring up with you specifically. Just putting out something consistently. I like your Freestyle Fridays. I think not to get too far into music, but maybe start having some original beats, because when I hear the same beats of other people, it constantly wants me to compare you to them. Like when I hear an M beat or Ice Cube beat, it's cool. But like if I hear an original beat where you can be like, whoa, this beat sparked these emotions and I put my pen to this, I just think you're gonna be way more impactful that way. And then also like sharing your lyrics. You're a fucking lyricist, man. Like just type out your lyrics on your phone and put them right on top of your face in your stories so people can see you rapping in the camera and read along with what you're doing. I think I like to see that happen specifically with you if you're gonna pursue more of the music. Karn.
Sorry, go ahead.
I've been meaning to share this with Steve. It's a platform this guy built he's a guy from Chicago, and I've been meaning to share it with him. Who's sharing the screen right now? Can Vic share screens, or is it?
What do you?
Do you mind searching up on YouTube? His name is Vo Music, VO Music.
I like that guy. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm meaning to share this guy with Steve because I think Steve would be able to mimic this guy's platform in his own unique way so efficiently. Like you're already recording out of your vehicle, and Vo Music is doing this shit at such a high level, and I think it's something that you can mimic and replicate in your own unique way so efficiently.
Hey Vic, can you pull that up? And is everyone good to go like another 25 minutes, a little bit overtime? Is that okay, or is that too long for you guys?
No, for sure.
I'm good.
Okay, cool. 25 minutes. I'm gonna take a leak. Vic, pull it up.
What are we looking at?
VO Music on YouTube.
Yeah.
Hearing?
Yeah, this is the guy. When you play it, does the sound play and stuff like that?
Give me a video to play. Is there one in particular that you want to pull up?
Any video.
We're gonna go with Twista. Can you guys hear that?
What?
Yeah. You know, he has his whip. He sets up his camera inside his whip all the time, and he just talks to people. He executes his music in there.
Yo, I get that, man. You know what the thing is for me is like this is kind of, you know, talking about a lot of the things we've discussed in this conversation, but for me, the first step was just to put fucking something out there. And it was just me sitting in my living room. It literally came from me cleaning my house during quarantine and finding this giant book of rhymes and being like, what the fuck am I doing with this? Like, I will hang on to this for the rest of my life if I don't do anything with it. And then I'll look at it in 20 years and be like, yo, that was some cool shit that I wrote. But I was like, yo, why don't I just put this out? Like, and I was watching this interview with DJ Jazzy Jeff. And Jazzy Jeff said you should never die with creative content that you've never put out. And that shit hit me so hard because I was like, yo, I have a mountain of creative content that I'll never put out. Because for me, it was like, yo, I need to record this and mix and master it and put it on fucking, you know, this platform and that platform. And it was like, yo, I need to just cut all of that shit out. And I just need to start with one simple video and just put it out. So that's like, you know, that's where it started from, was just like putting the shit out. And like I say, like it's taken a life of its own. Freestyle Friday for me started off with like me not wanting to deviate from this binder of rhymes that I have, to week 8 being like, yo, I'm going to express my interest, my frustration, my anger about what's going on in the US. You know what I'm saying? And then like saying that like 1 week DJ was like, yo, keep your pen sharp and blah, blah. And I was like, oh, fuck, I'm going to hit you back with some new shit then. So it's like, you know, it just all started with wanting to do something. And then now it's just building and becoming a life of its own, which for me is the most exciting fucking thing ever, because now it can go anywhere it wants.
Do you guys follow Harry Mack on YouTube?
I know who Harry Mack is, white guy.
Yeah. So that guy is really talented at freestyling, and he literally goes on Twitch, and people are just dropping words, and he just fucking throwing them in his freestyles, and like
That's crazy.
that's how he's creating his content, and how he's engaging people is ridiculous. Like, you know, I don't have that freestyle skill capabilities, but like these are ideas that we can all draw upon, and like I said, we're all leveling up our skills right now too at the same time, right?
Straight up.
Karn, that channel, were you saying like utilize like a space and turn it into like a regular space, that kind of thing? Like make your car your studio, that kind of vibe?
Well, no, and like it doesn't have to be in your car, but I think VO Music has done something so well. And I think if you haven't watched his shit, I think you could definitely take away a couple of things from his platform that he's built. Because I mean, I've been watching this guy when he was only getting 500 views, and now he's getting like, you know, I think he's in the double digits now, right?
Yeah.
And look, he's got Twista fucking wanting to be on his show and shit. You know what I mean? Like, that's pretty powerful.
Yeah.
And the guy himself is a very intellectual guy, right? He's not a dumbass, and he talks about some very positive things, you know?
We should all have YouTube channels. All of us,
100%.
all professional YouTube channels, professional banners, regular content, building up a subscriber base, whether it's game shows, music, podcasts, track reviews, like creation versus consumption, man.
Yeah, and the other day when you were telling me, DJ, like, yo, you know, I'm working on that verse, and you're like, yo, just drop the verse without it being, you know, like perfected. Just do the raw format, show the process. That's our superpower, is, you know, showing our process and being vulnerable with it, even though it's not at the stage of perfection. That's what you know, other platforms out there are lacking, and that's a niche that we can come in and fill.
Yeah, man. Like we show the realist. We're not talking about driving Benzes or flashing around money right now wearing jewelry, because that's not we're in the position. We're sharing the story of the come up. We're sharing the story of the transition to self-reliance, and we build communities along that at the same time. In 10 years, there's no reason why none of us shouldn't be really successful and have all of our own brands.
100%. Yo, I need to invest in a phone. My oh shit, my phone it doesn't work. The camera on the front,
Hmm?
and I can't film IRLs right now. It's so fucking stupid.
Yeah, that's for sure.
You know what I
It
mean?
re-
So like, I mean, tools are like, you sometimes I look at a tool like, oh, I have to have this particular tool, but it's like, fuck it, man, just pick up a camcorder, pick up a VHS
Yeah.
camcorder, shoot it,
The-
and fucking get done with it, right?
The best tool is the one you use, man. Start off
One-
with what you got.
There you go. There you go.
Okay, so Karn, we gave you some practicality, some stuff you could really dial in on. Where did Brown Steve go?
I don't know where Brown Steve went.
Okay.
He just
Okay.
had a circle going for a while, and then he just disappeared.
Weird. Okay, that's okay. Okay, Vic, how can we help with the game show idea and coming up with a concept? Do we need to do a brainstorming session? Do we need to like reach out to people and just kind of like see what they're vibing, or like do you have any like pre-concepts that aren't actually developed yet and have any insight into like how we could pull this off?
I think I know a few things in terms of the logistics of how I would do it, but in terms of the actual concept, is just something that I think I need to be more confident with and develop. Like something I was going to say earlier was like, so for example, if you look at DJ's background there, right? He's essentially showcasing his personality, where he's coming from, what he's demonstrating, right? It's contained in that frame. If Karn gave us a tour, I'm not asking for one, but just basically in your physical space where you're sitting right now, I've noticed some things in the background. I think you could very easily, like, you could tell us what that is. You could tell us about your interest in it, your, what intrigues you about it, what, like, that creative side, even what's in front of you, right? Like you've set up visually, I imagine, like all of that has a reason to be there.
Mhm.
Like you've given a reason for it to be there. So in terms of being able to showcase your personality, where you're coming from, I think I don't think you're very far off from being able to demonstrate that.
Mhm.
So the reason I touch on you two is, for me, this is my background right here. It's just a wall of stuff. It's because I've kind of been working a little, like, going backwards. I've found that
What do you mean going backwards?
in terms of like undoing clutter from my physical life, like that's something that's just been a challenge with me, and it has its pros and cons. The pro is that, clearing space and time to really be able to evaluate and reflect on the things that I want without having to be distracted or worry about things that are in the physical space that kind of tie into the mental space. The downside is that, whereas, like, for example, Karn, you have stuff, you have things that you are passionate about, and that you're drawn to and attracted, and you're filling your space with that.
Mhm.
Nostalgia and memory.
That's the downside for me, is that now that I'm working to kind of alleviate that from my space, I haven't exactly filled it with the things that I want to do, because I'm still trying to figure out what that is. So to touch back on, like, the whole, like, game show or whatever that is, why, like, if we look at it as like a product or something, then I think we know that I can, dial in and get these things done. But because it's very personal, it's still more on the blank side of things. Whereas
I'd like to ask a question, if you may. Where did the idea of wanting to do a game show come from initially?
where
Like, what made you want to do a game show of all things that you could do? Why a game show?
I like the idea of entertainment and engagement.
Mhm.
It's similar to why I do a photo booth, right?
You want to do a game show? That's fucking dope.
I know, right? I'm so excited.
Can
So
you be the host?
I was
Can
trying
I be the
to
Yo,
keep
Steve would be he would be the sickest game show host, man.
things. I was trying to keep it hush hush, but DJ here decided to.
This is not hush, bro. It doesn't get more
Yeah.
hush.
But the thing is, bro, we could all help you achieve that goal. You know,
No.
as long as you're
Exactly.
sharing the ideas with us, we're
Right.
able to, fill the gaps that you may not necessarily be able to see, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. So
I think to touch on what DJ said earlier, Vic, is there's something about breaking that hush hush and just fucking bringing it out into existence and bringing it out into the universe. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, one thing I realized yesterday too in a conversation, one of our friends, KV, who runs SAS, gave me a shout, and one thing he said that he was like, "Hey, bro, like, I keep me in the loop. I like to be in the loop."
Straight up.
Part of that was like listening to him. I understood later today. I was like, what he means by that is create projects and get me involved.
Mhm.
Because you're not just asking for help. You're honoring them by keeping them in your loop. We aren't just a family in name. We aren't just a brotherhood unless we are exercising our brotherhood, right? Why are you laughing, DJ?
No, I just want to put Vic's face on this Bob Barker image.
You might laugh, but like
So like, it's important to ask for help from your teammates because that's what they want as well.
Yeah, like I think a game show is actually perfect for this time. It's just so much negativity going on that
up.
bringing people together in a game show, like something that we're taking advantage of technology, like that's an amazing opportunity. Like you can literally have like 20, 30 people online in a game show from all over the world and be hosting something.
Mm-hmm.
You better be ready for that thing to blow up because that idea right away. And if you're thinking that right now, that's not your idea. That idea was in the ether. You were in connectivity enough to grasp that idea, but act on it because it is a great idea. And
It'd be a waste if it never happened. And
Straight
there's
up.
no reason why it can't.
Yeah,
Like we
yeah.
have all the skills.
at least pursue it and see if you want to, how far you
You know, if I may interject for a moment, I think part of the reason we try to hang on to ideas so much is we're afraid somebody's going to steal it. The only person that steals the idea is the person that's brave enough to fucking act on it. And everyone else is able to access those same ideas, but they just don't act on it. And it exactly goes back to what parents said. We all know what the fuck we want to do. It's just doing it, man.
I want to be able to steal this idea. Is this what's happening?
No one's
Like-
gonna steal it. Somebody's probably already done your idea.
Exactly.
You just got to do it.
Yeah. And like coming up with a concept, we need to have some sort of brainstorming sessions where it's just about that, we could definitely do that. If I'm sure everyone on this call could be of service to you to be like, all right, let's fucking sit down for a second and throw some ideas out and like, all right, how can we get people going? Or we can make like charades. Are they going to have cameras? Like, do we want it, like who's going to host it? Like to start asking the questions and having a conversation around it to try to get some insight. Like
Straight
if
up.
you need that, let us know. And we could spend an hour just chopping it up specifically on the game show. Cause there's opportunity there for sure. Right when you told me, I knew like, fuck, this is opportunity right now. I think your game show would have way more participants than my podcast. I really do.
It's not about that. I mean, to answer Karn's question about why a game show,
Mhm.
it's. I mean, there are a lot of things that I like, but when I was a kid, it's just something that I was always entertained with was game shows. So yeah, you laugh at Bob Barker, but
What's your favorite game? What's your favorite game show?
my favorite game show is probably Wheel of Fortune.
Yes.
I love Wheel of Fortune, man.
Love it. Wheel of Fortune and
Not
Jeopardy.
necessarily because of Vanna White, but it was a good show.
I used to watch that. I've still been watching it. I used to watch it with my mom. Really, it was one of the things that were if we were just relaxing or whatever,
Yeah.
or because like she, for example, went through a lot of mental health issues and depression and things like that, and sometimes it's just be like she's just laying down in bed, just watch Wheel of Fortune. The funniest thing is like before she passed is they had an April Fool's episode where Pat Sajak pulled off his wig, and she legit thought that he was bald like the entire time, her entire life. She's like watching Wheel of Fortune, and she thought he thought, yeah. So Wheel of Fortune, and then Jeopardy. I got a story about Jeopardy. Is when I was maybe like 8 or something. My younger brother Sagar was probably 3, 4. Loved Power Rangers, right?
Nice.
Dope.
Fuck yeah.
So, but what happened is we only have one TV, a little, 21-inch CRT. Or whatever.
That's
And,
big, yo. You guys are 21? Shit.
It might have been 19, but yeah, what it is. And then I put it on Jeopardy. I was just laying on the floor, and this kid, like, he came on my, like, because I was laying on my stomach, and he'd come on top of me, start pulling my hair, switch it back to Power Rangers, and then I put it back on Jeopardy, and then he punched me in the face and gave me a bleeding nose. And so when he tells the story now, he's like, what kind of 8-year-old kid or whatever 10-year-old kid watches Jeopardy? So he thinks he's justified in the fact that he gave me a bleeding nose. But I've been watching game shows since I was a kid, and I even went through that phase when I was talking about like the Japanese videos.
Kimberly.
That's
Kimberly
bro.
the Pink Ranger.
The best, bro. Everybody's
Bro,
crush right
the,
there.
the amount of times I've jerked off to Kimberly is just disgusting to me, man.
Taking a turn. I don't think Sagar's actually met her,
TMI.
but he met actually a few of the Power Rangers. Which, for example, like if you have an opportunity to meet one of your idols, I think you should probably get DJ's probably got a restraining order. You're really there, but yeah, he's met the Green Ranger, he's met the Red Ranger, he's met a couple of the other ones.
Fucking Brown Ranger, yo.
Yeah,
Nice.
where's the
Yeah, get the fucking
Where's
Brown
the
Ranger in there, man. With the turban on. I want the turban on.
Did you Google Brown Ranger and see what pictures show up?
You know what would be the best thing about the Brown Ranger? He would always show up like 10 minutes late. That should be the
White Sun?
I don't know if this is weird, but when I type in Brown Ranger, and the first thing that comes up under Brown Ranger is Brown Ranger chicken. It says, I don't know why.
What the hell is that?
I don't have no idea.
Let's see the result page. I want to see it.
Okay, hold on. Let me see here.
I want to see the Google image results for Brown Ranger.
What are you looking at?
Brown Ranger.
I'm pouring I'll check
One of you bastards got to post this for sure.
Yeah.
Please.
You know what? I'm gonna officially come up with a song called Brown Ranger.
Yeah,
I like it.
100%.
We need
I
a
was
costume.
I will dress like this motherfucker too if somebody can find this goddamn outfit.
The Brown
That
Ranger
should be-
trailer.
yo,
Let's see this
Straight
trailer.
up, this should be the name of my album, Brown Ranger.
Brown Ranger, yo, that'd be
Like that.
so sick.
Brown
Yeah.
Ranger, Brown
We can make
Ranger.
a video with like a sword on.
I should reach out to this band show and be like, "Yo, man, let's make
Bro.
a fucking video together."
You know what? Yeah, it's funny.
Uploaded
Go
by
ahead.
Mexican martial
So I was
arts.
gonna say, do you remember when Eminem did the whole Eminem show and he dressed up like who was it, Robin?
Yeah.
Sickest thing.
It was sick.
Brown Ranger
You know-
definitely needs to go down.
Wait, Eminem dressed up as who?
Robin.
It was with Dr. Dre.
Oh, Dr.
Yeah.
Dre. Yeah.
Batman and
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that was
Um,
on that was
Eminem?
on Let's Get Down to Business. I don't got
Let's
nothing to
Get
play
Down to
around with. Is this?
Yeah.
Must be a circus in town. We shutting this shit down on these clowns. Can I get a witness? Hell yeah.
Was that from Marshall Mathers LP1 or
No.
from the Slim Shady show?
Eminem show.
Eminem show. Okay, okay.
Number 3 on Eminem show. I'll put
Okay.
money on that.
Yeah. I believe
So-
Number one was intro. Number 2 was White America. Number 3 was business. Number 4 was cleaning out my closet. Number 5 was fucking square dance. Number 6 was a skit. Number 7 was soldier. Number 8 was
I'm a
say
soldier.
goodbye to Hollywood. Number 9 was drips. Number 10 was fucking.
What is this?
Oh,
What LP are you saying?
this is Eminem show.
Okay, go top to
Okay.
bottom.
Okay,
Hold
so the intro was a skit. The intro was a skit. Number 2 was White America. Number 3 was
Yeah.
business. Number 4 was cleaning
Yeah.
out my closet. Number 5 was square dance. Number 6 was a skit. Number 7 was soldier. Number 8 was say goodbye to Hollywood. Number 9 was drips. Number 10 was what the fuck was after drips?
Without.
Oh, Without Me, the single, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah, Without Me.
What's 11?
Fuck, Eminem show number 11. Was it the Man, it was like a diss track. Oh no, that was later in the album.
It was
Number 11 was the Superman. Was it Superman? Oh, number 13 was Superman.
yeah, 13 Superman.
13
Remember
Superman.
it was a skit. Paul Rosenberg.
that? Yeah.
Paul Rosenberg. Yeah.
Dude, you just went
Oh,
you just
the number-
went
the
11
number
for
12.
11.
And number 12 was what's the one? He stole the sample from Aerosmith. What was that
Sing
song
for the
called?
moment.
Sing for
Yeah, Sing for the Moment. They stole that from Aerosmith, right?
Holy.
Jesus, man.
Number 13 was fucking Superman. Number 14 after Superman. Oh my god,
What's
feel like
what's
I should know
Eminem's daughter's
everyone.
name?
Haley. Which one? He's got 3.
Haley's song.
But Haley song. Oh, okay, that was crazy because on that he sang on that song. You remember that? And on the third verse, he spazzed on it so hard.
Okay.
Oh yeah,
I've been listening
I
a
know
lot
it
to
well.
M recently. A lot of M recently. But I don't want to get off topic. Game
All
show.
right. Game show.
How are we going to push this forward? What can we do to help you come up with the concept? What's the next step?
next step.
Where are you at so far? I guess is the first question.
Nowhere. This first step is actually just to put pen to paper, right? First step for me is to put pen to paper because I've got all these ideas swimming around in my head and I haven't
Give us one idea.
of the game show.
Yeah.
One of the ideas was trivia, but then so the reason trivia came in was because it ties into podcasting. So like for example, DJ's just got a new segment for his podcast, which is whatever this is, whatever you just did right now, which is listing off the track listing,
Track off an album.
right? I don't know who's gonna be able to actually do that. Sandeep, Karan, do you think you'd be able to list off the tracks in order from an album? All right, so that's the one and only segment when Brown
But
Steve.
this is the thing, though. Like, whoever comes onto the show, they would maybe give them a chance to kind of brush up on their trivia. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Maybe not have the exact albums, but maybe give them a pool of albums that they can look into.
But is trivia, with today's day and age, like you can be asking me this question, I can be looking at it on my phone over here. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Like,
Oh,
what is trivia?
That's what it started with, right?
So what are your other ideas?
I want to have something that's much more engaging. Probably on Twitch, I think, is what it's
Mhm.
going to come down to, is tapping into that audience, live streaming it, and having different challenges throughout. I've been playing some other games through work made by Jackbox. And the funny thing is that was probably one of the things that triggered it, because the developers of the games that we're playing right now, years ago, like we're talking like 10, 20 years ago, back when we had one of our first computers, there was a game called You Don't Know Jack. And I used to play that thing like religiously. And I thought they'd just disappeared off the face of the planet, but it turns out they were continually making digital games. You Don't Know Jack was just like a trivia kind of game, and there were different challenges throughout it. Like you could screw somebody. So you have contestants, and if you had a screw, you could screw someone by like taking away their points or giving them like a super tough question kind of thing. And there was like animations and the quality of the host, like their voice. Yeah, go ahead.
So in regards to making it interactive and this whole idea of posing challenges to other people, is there a way that you could tie in, you know, the world of trivia to fucking Pokemon, to where it's something that you physically actively have to go pursue? You know what I mean? Like the way that the Amazing Race is set up, like you got to go do this shit, and then once you accomplish it or complete it, then you can go on to the next step, kind of thing.
So those are some of the logistics that I got to figure out. But being able, because the one thing I like is putting a face to the contestant. I don't necessarily want them to just be able to like text only kind of thing. But yeah, like if having, so say for example, the four of you are contestants, right? And say you're using your phone, so I can figure out how to stream that, and have the four of you, and then because you're portable, you can run around. So if it's like a scavenger hunt kind of thing, right? So you got to go and find things in your house, and so integrating that into like a timer or a buzzer or things like that kind of thing.
That'd be cool.
That's more of what I want to do, like that complexity, because I want it to be different enough that it's engaging, that it's interesting, but it's got to also be simple enough that you can play, right? From the beginning, like it's got to be simple enough that you can kind of hop on board and play and quick. And the other thing about me is that when I play like video games, for example, I like quick games, I like fighting games, I like sports games, I like car games. I can play like the long play games, the adventure games, but I don't know. I just feel like I can't
Fucking
really
boring.
I can't
And
commit.
you want people to be able to come in for 15, like half an hour, where they don't have to commit.
Yeah.
You know, an hour, 2 hours.
Right. And
Sorry, I was gonna say, like, it might even be worth like looking into setting up a game show live in person, right? And shooting it with multi cameras and putting it online as a production afterwards. Like that might be pretty cool thing to do, and a little bit different from what people are used to in today's day and age. I mean, it's a little bit more old school, but a different frequency for today's day and age still, you know? And it gives you a chance to kind of host it a little bit more, like craft your hosting a little bit more.
If I can piggyback off exactly what you just said, all of this that we've talked about, all is there's a word called an inertia. The inertia is like the initial force that pushes something forward. So like if you have a rock at the top of the hill and you give it a slight nudge and you push it, and then it creates that momentum to push itself forward, the speed it's going to pick up at is completely out of your control. So I think with what Karn said, and with everything we fucking talked about, is just starting something, just doing it. Like we can have all these ideas and all these logistics and all these this, that, and the other, but until we put something down or put something out to people and get a reaction from it, because everything we do now is based on a fucking reaction. Everything is about content. Everything is about reaction. Everything is about engagement. Everything is about group unity, all that bullshit. But until we put something out that somebody can touch, see, feel, react to, it doesn't fucking exist. And until we make it exist, then we can start playing with it. You know what I mean? And start making it malleable.
Yo, I saw this guy on I forgot what the movement is. Okay, so whoever's sharing the screen on Instagram, can you search up somebody called Get Out, Get It?
Sure.
Get Out, Get It.
Give me
I
one
love
second.
the concept that these guys utilize, and it's such a maybe not necessarily a game show per se, but I just want Vic to see the concept that they did and how fun it ended up being, even as just a social experiment. Get Out, Get It.
Look at my angry face.
No, that's not it.
Size does matter. Okay.
One word, Get Out,
Use
Get
the
It.
bitch. Use the broad though. What's going on with that? Is that Tech 9?
Sorry, Get Up, Get It, maybe? Get Up, Get It?
Is that Tech 9?
Yeah. What is it, Karn?
Get Up, Get It.
Get up, get it.
And it's just like a main account. Nothing, eh? Let me see.
No. Can you share your screen?
What's the concept though? Like, what is the idea, anyways? Can you break it down? Like, give me the gist of it.
Yeah, so basically these guys they go around to different cities, right? And I mean they started in their own city, and all they would do is they would go around walking around with 2 water guns in the summer, right? And they would just find different people and they would throw the water gun at them, and then they would have a quick water gun fight. And even during this whole Black Lives Matter protest and stuff, they did it with like army, military men, and they did it with like police members and things like that. And I figured, yeah, these guys right here, these are the guys.
Yeah, I think I saw them on the Black Lives Matter one. They were doing it with the National Guard and everyone.
Yeah.
I think these guys have been doing it for a while.
And I mean, like, it's a cool little game to play right in the moment,
That's so cool.
Yeah. And it might be like cool to figure out a way you can be, engage with your own community by, running social experiments. Maybe you take a team of us and we post up at a mall and we help you shoot a concept on the fly type thing, and we compile it together. But I mean,
no, you're right, man. Because you can tell some of this shit's staged, right? Like they're setting these motherfuckers up.
No, but look how much fun people are having. Like, when's the last time you've been in a fucking water fight? And like, he's being very polite about it. He's like giving them the option to shoot him back, and he's like shooting them at their legs. He's not blasting them in the face right away. Like he seems very playful and
and he let them shoot him first.
Yeah, like it's he a good way to pick up some babes too. I bet for this guy. He's probably fucking cleaning house, man.
That's what I'm talking about.
Jesus, man, there's probably lubrication in that fucking water gun. He's just shooting at babes.
I feel like I've seen this done as well with like pillows or something.
Oh yeah, I've seen it with pillows. They have pillow fights on the fly.
Yeah.
So
that's funny, man.
Yeah, this is fucking awesome. That's a good score, Karn. Thanks for sharing.
Yeah.
So, what do you need from us, Vic? How can we help?
I think right now this is helping. So just checking in is probably one of the things. And I think that's going to lead to more like ideas bouncing off, that kind of thing. And then I'm going to need help with testing once there's like a concept, because something that I am good at, I think, is the logistics of stuff and putting it all together. But I can't, in terms of like the testing, and that's important to me because I do want it to feel.
Can I pose you a question?
Yeah.
If I decided to just jack this idea and start it tomorrow, like straight up though, like if I just tomorrow went out and started doing this shit, and then was like, yo, fuck that, we're gonna do Steve's game show idea. Would that give you any inspiration, or would that deter you from doing it at all and be like, oh, you know what, somebody else did it?
It wouldn't.
My question is, what's stopping you from going out and shooting this tomorrow?
I think it would probably annoy me that somebody else did it.
It would annoy, but would it annoy you that somebody else had the same idea, or would it annoy you that somebody else just decided to act upon the idea?
It would annoy me if somebody else in my group, and so that's part of the reason why it's not the reason why I'm keeping it hush, is because I'm trying to develop this, trying to explore what I'm trying to do with this, right? Because it's personal for me.
100%.
In terms of what would inspire me more is touching base and getting you guys to come back at me and say, hey, well, so what do you got? What's going on, right?
The reason I say that, and not to say that I knew this before Russell Peters ever did it, but before Russell Peters ever did what he did, my friends and I, and I'm sure we all did this, would sit around and bullshit about brown culture and brown humor and all these things all the time. And then when I saw this guy do it on stage, I was like, fuck, we've been talking about this shit for years. And then he made a goddamn career out of it. Now, granted, he's been a stand-up comedian for over 3 decades, and he's sharpened and fucking, did his craft, did his thing. And he's recognized and appreciated by comedians around the world. But my point is, like, we all have these ideas. There's nothing stopping us now in today's day and time with the technology, the access to the technology, the wherewithal, the thought process, the community, the group around us. And I get, that we have certain ties to certain ideas, emotional, physical, physiological, whatever they might be. But also, like I say, with the inertia of just having the forethought to do something about it, whether it's a fucking 30-second thing, whether it's a 10-second thing, whatever it might be, but just being like, yo, here's an idea, this is what I'm doing, can I get 5 people to buy into this idea off a 30-second piece? And I bet you, with the capabilities and the skill set that you have, if you came up with and here's the thing too, is like, just because you come up with an idea, it doesn't mean that has to be the concrete fucking idea for the rest of your life. Everything is an evolution. Everything has to start somewhere before it ends up into its place. So you might come up with something, and you might come up with a 15-second video of like, yo, this is what I'm doing, blah, blah, blah. And then you might get some feedback, as DJ said earlier with Sandeep, when he was like commenting and going back and forth in conversations with people in his views and his likes and his dislikes and whatever. All of a sudden, you are getting now 2 communities. You're getting your fucking boys that are having this conversation with you, and you're also getting the general public perspective. And so now you're getting the best of all worlds. You're getting your real perspective, and you're getting your real time perspective. And then you're able to shape and craft it as you go along. You know what I'm saying?
I just want to point out, Vic, that like, you see how fast Steve's brain works, and like he's ready to act on things. I don't want you to like not have a deadline or not push for your ideas to come to fruition, because you have a lot of resources around you and the skills to do something. Like in a week, you can have a game show. Like this doesn't have to be like 3 months down the road, we're still trying to figure out exactly what to do. It's like literally in a week, you could be up on Twitch and have a game show. So, yeah, I just want to make sure that your mindset is not holding you back from a really good idea, and just making sure that you recognize it. Like, it just like, you can move, your brain can move fast, and you can be in that zone where it just like, yeah, you're ready to act. But I've also been on the other end where I just like, I'm just very lethargic and very slow and not motivated too. But it's good to just have people around you to let you know you have good ideas and see how their brains work.
I was gonna ask Karn this earlier when he was talking, or when we were talking about what challenges he was having.
Okay, 10 minutes, guys, and then we gotta go because we only got 4 hours on here. And I'll send you the private file when I upload it on YouTube. But please, Vic, go ahead.
I was gonna ask Karn, do you need a date? And now, instead of asking Karn, do you need a date? Should I be asking myself, do I need a date?
Yeah, I think we should give ourselves dates to kind of like put together something we want to do, right? And but for me personally, bro, I think fear holds me back quite a bit. You know, just like somebody had written over here, fear of judgment. I think that's one of my biggest demotivators. Is I am constantly thinking, what is the reaction going to be? I'm not going to be able to control the reaction, and that dwindles my energy quite a bit. But then, you know, when we start discussing as a crew, and then your energy gets renewed, and you remember again, like, oh fuck, okay, that's why I wanted to do it. Okay, okay. So I think constantly having meetings like this is super important, not only for myself, but I feel like for everybody, each and every one of us.
Sandeep and I talked about this recently, and there's a point that you have to get to where it's like, fuck what everybody else thinks. Because, you know, if you were to go ask 10 people you know, if I were to go ask 10 people I know, like, yo, man, can you rap? No. Can you play basketball? No. Can you cook? No. Well, why would I give a fuck about your opinion on any of those things because I know I can do them? You know what I'm saying? If you were to go, if you were afraid to unleash this talent to the goddamn world, to think about this. It's not about the world. It's not about fucking 10 people, 15 people. It's about one fucking person, right? So if you have this gift, this ability to give one kid that's sitting at home that is just like, yo, man, I have all these skills and all these talents and blah, 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 all this bullshit, but I'm afraid to fucking do it. And then he all of a sudden comes to your page or to your video and he's just like, yo, this motherfucker's doing it. I should be able to do it. You know what? I am going to do it. Chances are that little motherfucker is going to lap you in this race. Straight up. You know what I'm saying?
And you know what's gonna happen when this? You can keep it on all of us, DJ. But you know what's gonna happen when you finish this is nothing. You're gonna feel the same as you do now. And there's Ido Portal. I don't know, DJ. Have you looked into him? He's Conor McGregor's movement coach too, but he has a lot of his own literature on movement. And he said for 3.5 years he was trying to work on a one-handed handstand. And one of the worst days of his life.
Oh, I've seen this motherfucker. Yeah.
One of the worst days of his life was when he did that handstand because
he figured it out.
He realized that I was so focused on this one task. I thought that encompassed me, and I didn't realize that there's going to be more. I have to. It's like a cycle of ideas. So I think for all of us, like planning and stuff is super important, and some of us need to do that more. Make calculated moves. Don't just run in. You got to be thinking on defense too. But some of us, in certain at different times, I don't want to characterize any of us because at different times we play different roles and have different strengths. But I would say like this idea is huge. It's a big idea. It's going to take a lot of commitment, but it's just one of your ideas, and there's no reason.
I'll be right back.
You're gonna have another idea when this is finished, and you're gonna have another one when that's finished. So too much. I don't want to use the word pressure, but don't expect too much or too little. But I don't know. Does that kind of make sense?
So let me just jump in here to like bully the conversation. So there was like 10 years ago, Perrin did this contest on Facebook probably, and I haven't been on Facebook for like 10 years. So this is why I think it was Facebook. And he said, "What is your favorite book and why?" And I said that The Twits, written by Roald Dahl, who is the same author who's written Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, is my favorite The Twits is my favorite book of all time. The Twits? The Twits. TWITS. The twit, it means an idiot. It's like a slang in England. And it's about this couple, Mr. and Mrs. Twit. And essentially they're regular, normal, beautiful people. And the only thing that they can think about are horrible thoughts about themselves. So as they grow older, they become uglier and uglier and whatever. So anyways, I gave this short explanation of what my favorite book was and why. And Perrin sent me this Making Ideas Happen. And I still have this book. And I'll never leave this book because this book shares a special place with me, not only because of why I won this book, but what this book represents. Everybody idea. I rap. Motherfuckers have been rapping for 30 years. Sandeep produces music. People have been making music for well over 30 years. But we still do these things because there's a particular fan base, there's a particular person, there's a particular community, there's a particular group of people, there's a particular sound that we might represent that catches the eye, attention, and appeal of those people. Until we actually do those things, those ideas are just fucking ideas, man. They just float in our head. They float around in the universe. And the chances are, whatever ideas you have, like Sandeep said earlier, somebody already has them, somebody's executing them better, or somebody's actually just executing them. So until we actually make them happen, they're just fucking waiting to come to fruition, dog.
Bro, Nas said it. No ideas new under the sun, right? Lost
Straight
Tape one.
And I think the only feeling that's the worst feeling is not being on the path, our path. We know here what
Straight
each
up.
one of our paths is, and what DJ said a couple of weeks ago, which I talked about, which is like the practice. Like this is just an idea, but it allows you to practice. You don't have 100 ideas. It feels like you have a lot of ideas, but write them down and see which ones you're actually willing to do. There's only 3, 4, maybe 5 ideas that you're willing to do. And those are so important because it's not what they're going to bring to you. They just allow you to practice. That's it. And once we practice on our path, solidify our path, that's all we can want.
Okay. We got 8 minutes left. Vic, is there anything else we could do right now to help you?
I would say that I value this conversation. So if you want to set up another date at some point to kind of reconvene and just say what's up. I don't know that this necessarily needs to be the topic or anything like that.
No, let's come back in a week's time. Let's come back next Friday.
Okay.
And
Lots of hands up. Hold on. Karan, go ahead. We got 8 minutes, literally, and then we're going to get booted out.
let's follow up with Vic. All of us, whoever's here, let's make a commitment to show up again, and let's open up the conversation again, see where we're at.
Okay.
Right?
Yes.
I've literally, in this last few months, been an operator. I've been on the phone all the fucking time with everyone that I'm trying to create with. I would say that what you need to do is what I have been doing with these guys, is be super annoying, and just as soon as you come up with an idea, call them, talk to them, tell them about it, tell them what you're going to do. Go and shoot something. Go and shoot something and send it to them and be like, yo, this is what I'm doing. This is what I'm feeling. This is what I'm not feeling, blah, blah, blah.
And Vic, you've officially been added during this conversation to the 7th Ring Council group. That is to be developed and used as.
Can we get DJ in there?
Yeah, DJ's in there too.
This is the 7th Ring Council.
We don't get to be in the same space physically all together, but that is like, like if you have something super rough that you want feedback on, throw it in there. And some people will give feedback sometimes, and some people sometimes don't get feedback. That's fine, but it's use that resource to flush out your ideas. And sometimes certain people feedback, sometimes certain other people, but you use that space. That's your inner. You have your mind, and then outside of your mind is this group,
guys.
And now finally, Vikash Prasad.
Appreciate it,
guys. The challenge that I'm putting out to all of us, including myself, is to write down what you're going to do on paper this week. Write down what you're going to do. If you don't know, I don't know what I'm going to do, but I'm interested in, and just keep on writing and flesh out your idea. I want this to be a part of what's going to happen in our next conversation. So my challenge to everyone here is write down what you're going to do. We have a ton of stuff we've discussed. Rewatch this. We have a lot of tools we discussed. Nothing's going to happen unless we execute. Yes, Brown Steve.
I think that is amazing, and I think the best way to open the next conversation we have is to touch on what we fucking wrote down.
Yeah, even share a screenshot. Oh, okay, I see. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like DJ saying, write down what you want to commit to in the next week. So the next time we have this conversation, it was like, maybe it's 2, 3, 4 weeks from now. Maybe it's next week. Doesn't matter when it is. But we can go back and be like, you know what? After we had this conversation and DJ told us to write this shit down, this is what I wrote down. And this is what I accomplished. Or this is what I didn't accomplish. Right?
Exactly.
Right.
We got 5 minutes. Just the fear judgment thing, man. I cannot not speak up on it again. Exercise that muscle. Exercise that muscle. You know, like get in front of the camera. Like Karn, you did a video of you driving in a car maybe a couple weeks ago or a month ago. That was sick. Don't be scared that, you know, and if you are scared, man, like look at SJ. He's getting haters already, right? Be prepared for that.
Love the haters.
For that. Like Vic, I know we're not quite there with the game show concept, but maybe you can kind of like push some sort of uncomfortable button for yourself personally with social. That would be good too. I think like, sorry, go ahead.
Karn always says something, right? Vulnerabilities are our strengths.
A superpower.
Yeah.
Superpower.
So
Learn to laugh, learn to cry.
The more vulnerable we are with our content, the more people are going to connect with it.
Yeah, and you know,
your idea.
This is all good, but like we got to do something about it. So I agree. Like the next meeting we have, I'm gonna have my 1-pager down and explain my entire map and strategy for you guys,
fucked up.
everything that I'm doing with music, art, and business. I'm gonna go through all my businesses, my art, and my music, and my plan for the next 10 years. And we could start off with that. And by the time we talk next time, I expect all of us to have moved ahead of where we are today. Like we've got a week, so let's not sit on this, man. Like let's use Steven's mentality of like moving fast right now. I think that we should all be on the offense. Any last thoughts? Who wants to go first? Brown Steve, last thoughts. We got 3 minutes.
Okay, if I can say anything, I would say that my momentum and my speed on moving forward with things is 100% based on this community of people that I'm working with. If I didn't have everyone here to bounce ideas off of and also to get motivation from, I wouldn't be doing a goddamn thing. So I think that you're right that the next time we all meet and have this discussion, we should have fulfilled everything we've written down on that fucking piece of paper.
Karn.
Execute. Right? Like we have a lot of time to plan, and we've been planning. And I think we just have to be confident with the plans that we've already made and execute on them.
Execute. Write it down and do it. Repeat. Murder, rinse, repeat. Murder, rinse, repeat. Murder, rinse, repeat. SJ.
I would say, you know, we could all move on our own, but to move as a unit, we have to share our deepest ideas with each other. We can't look at each other as separate from ourselves. We have to really look at each other as limbs of the same body, and that's something I have to work on and trust everybody and exercise that trust and that teamwork, because real teamwork has to happen for any success to happen.
Vic.
I got nothing, but there was a video that I wanted to play. I don't know if we're gonna play
We got 2 minutes right now. Play it. Go.
play it.
Yeah.
Put it. Oh, nice.
Play it. Here it is.
Boom.
Where's the audio?
There's
Turn
no
it up.
audio.
There's no
Yeah.
audio.
You have the tab muted by any chance?
Don't worry
Yeah,
about
9 seconds, Vic. Let's hear it.
it. Thank you.
Post it in the 7th Ring group. That's your first post in there.
There you go.
Go in there.
I appreciate you guys. That's
I
all
appreciate you guys. Okay. We all got work to do. Let's fucking get going. Rewatch this video. There's lots of tools in it. And we'll see you in the second meeting. Yes.
I feel like DJ has a burner account. He was the one posting the hate on my shit just to pop it
Brown Steve, 1 minute and 10 seconds.
I want to thank DJ for creating this platform, for doing what you do, for being an inspiration for me physically, mentally, musically, and everything, and for everyone that's been a part of this conversation. And this is amazing that we have all reconnected, even though we first knew each other when we were like fucking 12 years old.
Yeah. Thanks, DJ, for putting this together, man. Appreciate it. It doesn't happen without someone championing it. So
I know.
Appreciate
Straight up.
It's a group effort, man. So thank you guys. Appreciate you all. All right, boys. We got work to do. Love, peace, and chicken grease. That's a, see you guys soon. Okay.
post it
Out.
on String, Vic. I want to see it.